The business of betting on whether a policyholder survives within a certain time frame. The origin of life insurance. Well, that's all for today. That's right. There won't be any class next week.
Class canceled again?
If he keeps this up, I bet they won't hesitate to fire him.
Mr. Keaton? Did you move somewhere else again? Because another paycheck has been marked returned.
Oh, sorry about that.
So could I get you to write down your new address, please?
Oh, sure. Oops. Thank you.
By the way, Mr. Keaton, there was a telephone call for you from someone in London.
Hmm?
From Lloyd's, the insurance company, I think.
Oh, is that right?
Hey, Lloyd's is an insurance market, not an insurance company.
Huh?
They're not a company, but a consortium of underwriting syndicates.
I take it you bought a policy through them?
No, you see, Lloyd's deals in high-risk insurance mainly. They provide the business to underwriters, the people who handle the insurance personally. And in exchange, the underwriters perform all of their financial transactions through Lloyd's. But why is Mr. Keaton receiving phone calls from them?
Who knows? He always cancels his class. Maybe he's dabbling in the insurance business.
Yeah, right.
Oh! Huh? He did it again! Mr. Keaton took the tape I lent him!
Leon Pappas. He was a mercenary soldier from Greece. As you may be aware, I've been underwriting Pappas Insurance through Lloyd's. Until recently, he appeared to be living a quiet life back in his home village. But tragically, he died in an accident.
Is something bothering you about his death?
Well, the manner in which he fell from the cliff did strike me as very odd. But what's even more unusual about it is the beneficiary. He had a girlfriend. Her name is Sophia. And yet, for some unexplained reason, he designated Ox Art Company as the beneficiary. That is a photo of Ox Art Company's president.
Is this Ox Bayer?
Do you know this man?
Well, sort of.
Good. It's simple. Your mission in this case is to do a thorough investigation and find out the actual cause of Pappas's death. And find out why Ox Bayer has been named the beneficiary. A ticket to Greece. Good luck.
You said Greece? Guess I could.
Same place it was 2,000 years ago. Nothing interesting in Isidoro's village, sir. I mean, we don't even have electricity. Tourists are gone and won't be back until the summer. Right now, it's deserted.
But it's wonderful for people to see that a 2,000-year-old village still exists today.
Well, the whole place could collapse at any given moment. This area is famous for its heavy winds. They've managed to wear down everything. Oh, there is only one person who lives where you're going. A lady named Sophia. She sure is a strange one. Doesn't really like to speak to anyone.
How about it, Sophia? Are you ready to talk now?
I've told you already. I have no idea. But even if I did know, I would tell you nothing.
So you want to be stubborn?
Excuse me, but would you mind picking up that piece of paper for me? Thank you very much. I'm heading your way.
Come on.
Certainly is windy in this village.
Are you all right, then? That man we passed. I believe I may have met him before.
You're Sophia, aren't you? Please, I'm not here to make trouble. I'm an agent. My name's Keaton.
Agent? For an insurance company?
Yes. Sophia? I've read the accident report. I'd like to hear your version. Could you show me the way to Mr. Pappas's house? The keystone's quite loose. Huh? Uh-oh. Sophia?
I'm over here. Keep up. It's this way.
It's like a giant maze. Ah. Amazing. A vessel for making wine. I've heard that a large number of Greek ships had sunk under the Aegean Sea. From what I see here, I guess it's true.
You can find them all around here. There are thousands in this ocean. They're all just garbage. Totally worthless.
But I noticed that you still continue to collect them, Sophia.
I know. It was his will.
Huh? Are you able to talk about it? Tell me about Mr. Pappas.
I've always considered Leon my hero, ever since I was a little child. He was one of the strongest men in the village, and he had so much courage standing up for truth and justice. I even jumped for joy when I found out that he had decided to join the National Liberation Front. But that was a mistake. He was not the kind of man who should have gone to war.
What'll we do, sir? Well, one thing is for certain. That bloke isn't just passing through here.
I heard that Lloyd's of London has taken an interest in this case.
What?
If he is an operative sent by Lloyd's, we have no choice but to prevent him from leaving this island.
This really is a wonderful place to be. Around here, time moves so slowly.
It's just worn out. The clock stopped ticking long ago.
But isn't that why Mr. Pappas came back? To be home again?
That day, Leon was watching the sea just like you.
That day?
The day he came back to the village. Leon! Leon. But the Leon who stood there wasn't the Leon from before. Not only was his body wounded in battle, but his heart too. And soon after, he started collecting old things he found in sunken ships.
Ancient Grecian urns, statue of Hermes, so beautiful. Sophia, from these relics I feel the souls of those who had commanded great power and wealth. Don't you?
Perhaps Mr. Pappas was trying to regain his own soul and the meaning he once had in his life by collecting these relics.
It was then that they started coming around here. From that day on, whatever valuable relics Leon hauled out from the ocean, he willingly gave to Ox Bayer.
What? Were they using extortion because of something Mr. Pappas had done in the past? You see, Ox rose to Sergeant Major in the British Special Air Force. After his discharge, he fought in Africa as a mercenary. There was some incident between them in Africa.
Leon always blamed himself for causing the death of his friends. Deep down inside, he believed he was nothing but a traitor.
He caused their deaths?
Back then, Leon trained with the Polisario stationed in West Sahara. He was assigned to the unit commanded by Ox. They were surrounded by the Moroccan troops, who forced them into a battle at the Volupolis ruins.
Blow them up, Leon! Do it! Take them out now, along with the temple! Leon!
No, I just can't do it. No.
was too beautiful for him to destroy.
Ox threatened Mr. Pappas, using that story to keep taking the treasure. Tell me, why are they still coming out here even after the death of Mr. Pappas?
There's one treasure Leon never handed over to them. That's what those men are after.
What treasure? Huh? It's Ox. They're planning to look for the treasure, but first they're gonna have to get rid of us. Is there a back door? Hold on. Those men had their jackets buttoned and their left arms were positioned away from their bodies. It can only mean one thing: they're carrying guns. Perfect. This way.
Where'd they go? The man's a trained professional. I've met him somewhere before.
What are you planning to do?
Just stand back. Leave it to me.
Come on, pull yourself together.
Those two. Where are they? Now I remember. I first met you at the National Park. It was when I was taking the test for the SAS.
What's wrong? Are you worn out?
You're the instructor of the survival training. You're the master!
Didn't I teach you that ancient weapons are sometimes more accurate and therefore more effective when defending oneself against the enemy during windy conditions? Wow. These are the rare coins of Ithaca Island. Many thought that they were long gone. Well, no wonder those men were after this. These coins are worth a fortune.
When they heard about these coins, Ox started making all kinds of threats. But Leon refused to give them up. And the next day, Leon fell to his death.
Ox threatened Mr. Pappas with the past, and for his silence, he was designated the beneficiary. And then... Pappas lost his life, all for these coins.
Nothing is worth the loss of a life. Nothing so rare that a man's life must be sacrificed.
Look at this. See the carving on these coins? This is Ulysses. Legend has it after the Battle of Troy, he went through 10 years of hardship before reaching Ithaca Island. When his ship finally returned, he saw Ithaca in ruins. But it eased his soul because there was someone on the island that he loved. A woman. Mr. Pappas wanted to protect these coins, even if it meant losing his life. These precious coins.
I want you to have this.
I can't.
Yes, he's the best hunting dog you can find. He creeps in without making a sound, and will point at the prey for hours. He won't bark or attack.
He simply points and keeps watch over the prey.
Yeah, he's much like us.
Please, won't you kindly take a seat? So, would you mind telling us who you are, sir? And also why you insist on pestering us?
Pestering you? This'll probably clear things up.
Insurance investigator, Taichi Haraga, Keaton.
So, you're an insurance op?
I'm on assignment for Lloyd's of London to investigate a woman named Rosa Rain. Well, you must be the bounty hunters I heard about. So, such a profession really does exist after all.
This is Rosa Rain, 27, a high-ranking official in the German Red Army. Third daughter of the Rain Financial Group family, bombed Ramstein Air Base while attending the University of Berlin and participated in 7 other terrorist attacks. She's the highest-ranked woman on the most wanted list. An ideal target for a team such as ours, but don't you think a little bit too dangerous for an op?
I'm well aware that Rosa is a terrorist, but she's become disgusted with the organization and is willing to turn herself in.
What? Huh? So, you're telling us she's asking her family for assistance?
Yes. You see, Lloyd's has close ties with the Rain Financial Group.
We'll know her within a week anyway, before she has time to take any action.
According to German law, the sentence for any criminal activity is commuted when turning oneself in.
She's worth 50,000 Deutschmarks. It's not just Rosa. Thomas Mueller, Augusto Eckhart, they're at the hideout.
Reports indicate that these other dangerous criminals are also accompanying the ringleader.
The ringleader?
If she decides to turn herself in, the entire group will relocate from their hideout, and we would lose the 1 million Deutschmarks.
And you were planning to stake out the place and arrest them all at once?
Spoken like an amateur. We are not authorized to make any arrests. So what we do is act behind their backs and report to the authorities. We would appreciate you staying out of our way.
So you're saying that you've planned your strategy and there's no role for me?
Yeah, that's correct. We're dealing with a professional terrorist here, and you don't look like a guy who can handle yourself around a big guns.
I understand. Gentlemen, I'll leave you for the time being.
Hey, what do you mean for the time being?
What an amazing setup you have. So, how many of you are there? Just 7, or are there 8? Well, I can see why you're so eager about the reward. So long.
John, I want you to keep an eye on him.
Why a nobody like him?
Because we don't want that nobody to meddle in our business, do we?
Spotman, it's Thomas Mueller. I'm tailing him. I think that he's aware he's being tailed. He took the down escalator after going up. Best of luck, Walter. Confirming Augusto Eckhart. Rosa, Mueller, Hoffman. We have all 4.
Affirmative, Mike.
It's Walter here. Roger that.
No question about it, man. This is definitely their hideout.
1 more to go when we're set.
Careful. Use extreme caution.
I know. Oh no, it's him.
What's happening there, Walter?
It's Keaton. He's near the hideout.
What did you say? John, do you read me?
Yes, sir.
Weren't you supposed to be keeping an eye on Keaton?
Well,
So you lost him?
yes.
You didn't report.
I'm very sorry, sir.
That's enough. Go join the rest of the crew now.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Keaton, that was quite magnificent. Here we are nosing around and you sniffing us out instead. Well done for such an amateur.
Weren't you given the nickname the Little Giant?
Huh?
It occurred to me. There was once a man called the Little Giant. He was an inspector from Scotland Yard who was considered quite a genius. And his real name was Piddock. I heard there was trouble 7 years ago and that he quit his job.
Are you implying that my true identity would have any effect on the situation?
Of course not. I simply thought if you were Piddock, the ringleader you say you're after just might be someone called Heinz Becker. Becker's the most wanted among the world's terrorists. Incredible. The reward won't be any less than 1 million Deutschmarks.
I don't have to answer any questions.
But that's where you're wrong. We just received a call from the Rain Financial Group, and they've been notified that Rosa will be tortured today for her betrayal. Are you aware that Becker also has a famous nickname just like your little giant? Do you know what that is?
You mean the terrorist's hanging judge?
She will be murdered if he arrives.
Don't worry, we'll call the authorities before that happens. Whatever the case, don't come anywhere near their hideout.
Ah. By the way, I happened to notice something. There's one weak point in your team's stakeout. The open area where Walter's stationed. You do know he's vulnerable the minute they recognize him.
Well, the mouse giving the cat advice. Good afternoon.
Still no sign. When's he gonna show up? This Becker character.
He seems to be quite a cautious fella.
Walter, so how's everything going?
To tell you the truth, I feel like taking a nap.
Not too much longer then, mate. We'll be sending you a replacement real soon.
Becker.
Walter here. Look, Becker's captured me. He'll free me if we don't alert the authorities. Please do exactly as he said.
This came in at 14:15. It sounds like Walter. What do we do? Yes, they'll kill Walter even if we do follow their instructions, sir.
Our only choice is to be the rescue team.
Yes, nice going, sir.
Yes, of course we can do it. We'll pull it off, no problem, because we're professionals.
John, find a house we can use for a simulation. It's vital that we do this right.
Yes, sir.
And as for you boys, return to the stakeout.
Yes, sir.
Well, we must admit when it comes to taking on these terrorists, we're the amateurs.
From the first shot until they moved in, 24 seconds.
Not bad at all.
Their hideout has 2 stories. They change the guard every 4 hours. They only leave to go to the market. Everyone eats on the ground floor. One keeps watch on the first floor. We should attack during dinner. A professional familiar with terrorists explained the basics to cease their activities. First, take down the door with a shotgun, then toss in a tear gas grenade.
Very impressive training you have here.
Well, it's you again. What a surprise. Now tell me, how did you manage to locate such a remote spot?
I would very much like to be of some assistance.
Listen here, Keaton. We told you Mr. Piddock has no interest in an amateur like you.
They also have Rosa tied up, right?
So you've already taken a look inside their hideout.
Why don't you just let me in on your plans?
You moron, don't...
We're planning to move in when they sit down for their meal on the ground floor.
But Mr. Piddock!
And what if I were to climb directly onto the floor above at exactly the same time?
But how?
Don't worry, I'll manage.
I accept your offer. Just promise me one simple thing. That you will not move unless I give the order. I'll tell you the real reason I resigned from Scotland Yard. It was 7 years ago at a nightclub in Soho, after we swarmed in there to stop illegal trafficking. And as you know, in a narcotics investigation, you have to catch them in the act. No guns were to be pulled until the transaction was fully in progress. Unfortunately, there was a rookie with a heart as small as a rabbit. I don't know what got into him, but he just pulled out his gun and started shooting. All told, the dealer fled, and there were 2 officers and a patron lying dead on the floor. From that point on, I promised myself never to work with amateurs. They can't make sound judgments, and they can't remain calm when you really need them to. Our team's going in tomorrow to cover the ground floor. We will move in precisely at 8 o'clock. You will be expected to enter the upper floor 1 minute later. Now, is that understood?
Hey, Git! What's with you?
You would have had better success shooting at the hinges when you broke through the door instead of shooting at the keyhole. Alright then, let me make sure I'm clear on this. The plan as you've just explained it is for me to go in after the raid is commenced. See you then. Oh, for your information, I thought you might like to know. They're heavily armed. Hoffman uses an MP5 Mueller and Uzi Atkar G3. Becker himself uses a sawed-off shotgun. Until tomorrow.
Hey, Tonio.
Sir.
I want you to run a check on Keaton and see if you can find anything.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pinnock, but why did you let him join the team?
He may not be an amateur after all. He seems to know the golden rule of shadowing, and he's also quite familiar with breaking through doorways. And on top of that, he has quite an impressive knowledge of guns. Besides, our backs are to the wall right now, and we need as many men as we can get.
It's 7:50, and Keaton's still not here.
Probably chickened out, Brock.
What's this now?
A van is coming our way. According to the information I obtained, there are no vans scheduled along this route at this time. It's Keaton. What? That's brilliant. Now Keaton can climb to the upper floor.
Okay, let's get started, boys.
I bet he went into a panic. Are we calling off the attack then?
The hostages are in danger if their captors go upstairs. We have to move in now. Look for the stairs. Why are they still downstairs?
Okay, Daniel, get us out.
Hey, Keaton, you lied to me! You didn't say a single word about this being a dangerous job!
We can talk about it later. Just get us out of here now.
Don't worry, buddy. I'm getting out of here as fast as I can.
Well, Mr. Keaton, I heard that Rosa Rain had turned herself in.
Yes, well, it seems to be the case.
Professional soldiers are much more likely to retreat when hit with a surprise attack, and only after regrouping do they launch a counterattack. They remained on the ground floor because you took them by surprise on the upper floor. They were trapped and couldn't go up. And then our team went in. This gave them the impression that they were surrounded and therefore couldn't make a move. Our original strategy was to attack solely from the ground floor in the belief that the terrorists would be vulnerable. It was a terribly misguided strategy. Isn't that right?
So I heard you received a reward.
Yes, but not before receiving a reprimand, too.
A reprimand? For capturing all the terrorists and saving the lives of the hostages? That doesn't make sense.
Are you all right, Walter?
Oh, yeah, he'll make it through. Keaton was slick. He appeared out of thin air and finished the guards off, and then he loaded me and the young lady up and transported us out in no time. Have you figured out the identity of this bloke?
This just came today.
Roger Keaton, Tochi. Mother English, father Japanese, nationality British.
The nuns
soon after my son was laid in his grave.
Well, that may...
It's an important factor. I have arranged the best environment for a child to grow up in.
I'd like to speak to Flora to hear what she'd prefer.
Nonsense. Of course, she does not want to go back to the home of that heartless woman.
Yes, but I really should talk...
Franco, Signor Keaton is leaving now.
It certainly is a beautiful old house.
Too bad you won't be seeing it again.
Is Miss Flora's bedroom in the penthouse?
Open your eyes. It's 2 levels. There ain't no penthouse. See? Her room's just over there at the top corner.
Really?
Time to move on.
Might as well.
My mother-in-law is a horrible woman. She was born into an old, well-established family, the wealthiest and most influential in all Italy. She gets everything she wants, and now she's trying to take away my only daughter. She can't stand that the daughter of her only son will be mine, even though she showed no interest in her in the past. I was too naive, monsieur. I shouldn't have let Flora go there by herself for Christmas holidays last year. Huh? Excuse me. Who is it?
It's me.
Alain. Alain, it's over. We're finished.
I want to help. Why can't we talk?
I can't. Just leave.
Okay. Goodbye.
Is that it?
Yes, it's all over between us. I need just one person, and that's Flora. My only hope is to live with my daughter.
Uh-oh, what do I do now? Huh? Flora?
And you're the detective that my mama sent, aren't you? Let's go now.
But your grandma.
I really hate her. Don't you think we should get going now?
Huh?
Franco! Franco!
Oh,
Franco was a boxer once. Do you know how to box?
let's go. Got it. Hot. Well, I'm cooking my dinner at the moment.
I don't care. That's not important. Where are you and why are you there? You've canceled your classes for 2 weeks in a row. Mr. Keaton, are you there?
I'll be sure to attend next week.
Mr. Keaton? Oh, Mr. Keaton? Hello? Mr. Keaton?
Are you okay?
Well, I forgot about the mozzarella. I won't be able to make lasagna without the cheese. I'll have to go buy some.
Lasagna?
Yes, lasagna alla Milano.
We can eat out. You know, I hate lasagna.
Huh? Well, sure.
Papa, he made a promise to me. He said that he would take me to a nice restaurant just like this, but only when I was old enough. Papa was a great dancer, and he made the best lasagna.
Then why don't you like lasagna?
You know, you're actually kind of cute. How old are you?
Oh,
No, wait, let me guess. I'll bet you look younger than you are. Around 50?
well, close compared to you.
Lovely. I was 8 when I went to my very first party. It was wonderful. I danced with my papa. I remember I was wearing a white dress. My papa said I was like a queen. So, shall we dance?
not a good dancer.
You were lying, right? You just didn't want to dance with a little girl.
No, I'm telling the truth. I can't dance.
It's not good manners to turn down a lady.
Flora, let's forget about the car.
Huh?
One child and one adult. To the end of the line?
That would be Pisa.
These auto detectives were supposed to be more cool.
You know, I'd rather dance than risk her necks like this. Why did you go to your grandmother's?
I wanted to punish my mama.
Huh? You're mad at your mother?
And grandmother. She's convinced that Papa died because of Mama. And so she's been using me for revenge. She doesn't even like me. Are you married?
Well, used to be. I'm divorced.
So do you ever feel lonely?
Well, you have both your mother and your grandmother.
Mr. Keaton? You have an ex-wife. Do you still think about her?
Sometimes.
I thought so. Once you love someone, it's not easy to forget about them, even if they're not around anymore.
It's not the same.
Hey, I know! Why don't you run away with me? All my father's insurance money is going to be given to me. I'm going to be a rich girl.
I know.
We can tell people that I'm your daughter.
You're very sweet, but my daughter might object.
I see. What a shame. I didn't even think about that.
Hey, what's wrong?
I had a bad dream. My papa, he was inside his car, falling off a cliff.
Huh?
I was sitting in the car too, riding beside him. And my mama was pushing the car down the cliff. And she was laughing.
Your mother wouldn't do such a thing. Flora, your father was drunk and fell asleep at the wheel. That caused the accident. Trust me, I studied the case.
I know about that. It doesn't matter anyway. Only a year has gone by since my papa passed away, and my mama is already trying to marry another man.
Oh.
Don't you think it's wrong? So soon after Papa died? I truly loved him. No one else did. And now I'm all alone. I wish I were with him.
Well, if you weren't here, then who would be around to listen to my ultimate joke?
Ultimate joke?
Yes, it's a great one. My old friend from college fled to the Soviet Union after hearing it. You doubt me? You think I'm a liar. Flora, your mother told me that she isn't going to marry Alan.
She isn't?
Now then, I think you agreed I wasn't a liar. Try to understand. When someone's in love, it takes an awful lot of courage for that person to give up that part of their life for somebody else. Even if it's for their own child. Your mother won't make you feel lonely. She's alone waiting for you to come home, all by herself. Think you'll have bad dreams?
Mr. Keaton? Leave the lights on.
The door's open too.
Mr. Keaton? Won't you please tell me your ultimate joke?
Yes, but not until we reach Marseille. Then why don't you like lasagna? Even though it's baked, it's still a pasta. Flora,
Laura, you're not hurt, are you?
Grandmother!
Signore Keaton, what is all this about? Kidnapping my granddaughter.
You're wrong, Grandmother!
Oh, Flora, the man has fooled you all along.
Well, madam, he's the kidnapper, all right. It's time to give him a lesson, yes?
I feel for you, Signore Keaton. Franco was a heavyweight boxer.
Why are you just staring at me instead of throwing punches?
did you have some lasagna? There's cheese on your chin.
Bravo, sir. So how much do you want, Signore Keaton?
What do you mean by that?
Tell me your fee for babysitting my granddaughter. Or would you prefer to be charged with kidnapping?
Grandmother!
We are going home, Flora. I didn't mention this to you before now, but I found out that your mother was seeing other men while your father was still alive. Do you want to live with a woman who's such a poor role model for you? No, Flora, come.
I knew that.
Flora?
I've known for a while. I've known since the night I attended the party.
Flora seemed to have a great time tonight.
Anna, I want to talk to you about her future. If you're concerned about Flora, I'll take care of her.
I can't, Elaine. It wouldn't be fair. Flora loves her father, and Marco loves her. I need more time.
That scoundrel.
Elaine, please don't.
He's probably drunk again. I'll bet at this very moment he's in bed with some other woman.
Your kiss tastes like the lasagna we ate tonight.
My poor Marco. Betrayed by that awful woman.
Don't talk badly about my mama!
Flora,
It's Papa's fault. He's the one that made Mama go to LN.
That is foolish. Marco
He
was...
was always nice when he was around me, but not with her. He was always getting drunk. Then he would hit her, and he flirted with other women. You know all of this, Grandmother. I'm going to go back to my mama.
You cannot. I will not allow it.
I love Papa, and I love you, Grandmother. But I also love my mama, too.
That is enough. A girl like you cannot be my son's daughter. You're that woman's child. Franco?
Let me get that.
Grandmother, can I come and visit you again next Christmas?
Do as you please.
Mr. Keaton?
Mm-hmm.
We'll be in Marseille soon after we pass the border.
That's right. Once there were two little skunks named In and Out. Sometimes In and Out played outside, but other times they played inside. One day, In was out and Out was in. Mother Skunk told Out to go out and bring In. So Out went out, and in a few minutes he came in with In. Mother Skunk was quite astonished with her young skunk. My, Out, she said. How in the world did you find In so quickly? Out just smiled up at Mother Skunk and said, Instinct.
Mr. Keaton, answer me and be honest, okay? Would you dance with me when I get a little older?
My lady, shall we dance, yes? It's a perfect evening for a dance.
But people are watching. You don't really want to dance with a child, do you?
No, you're a something. How about some of this?
Some brandy, huh? Are you telling me I have to drink this cheap crap to warm up?
Sorry about that. Best I can do.
Can't you make this thing go any faster?
I can see that you're in a rush, but this is the fastest it'll go. What are you planning to do?
What a tragic ending. They should have known this would happen if only they'd had the sense to plan for their future.
How is that possible? They couldn't, since you're the one who...
Yes, thanks to me, they had the privilege of enjoying the most thrilling moments in their lives. Life is not life if one hasn't experienced its thrills. Wouldn't you agree, my dear comrade?
I'm Taichi Keaton. I'm an agent for an insurance consortium.
And my name is Andrei Semyonov.
Oh, so you're Russian? Were they as well?
Yes, they used to work for the KGB, but now they're with the Russian mafia.
The Russian mafia?
They don't know the first thing about enjoying life like I do, so they deserve what they get. People hoped the country would do well after the fall of the Soviet Union. But several years later, when I came back from America, the country was in terrible shape. It was because of those fools. The borscht they had in Moscow was the worst it had ever been. I will not allow such borscht in our great land of Russia. Watch me. I'll lead the way and bring the real borscht back to our motherland.
Could you tell me, sir, why would you be involved with the Russian mafia?
Well, I suppose you could say it's mainly a matter of showing them the simple pleasures of life. For I'm what you would call their teacher.
Is that right? You're their teacher.
Come on out, Semyonov. Get us the money, or prepare to take your last breath.
Money, money, money. All this for nothing, a trifle. A mere $100,000.
$100,000?
Just look at what they have turned into. See how money brings out the ugliness in men? All right. I'll come out now. All that noise. Well, Keaton, looks like it's time.
At last, you finally decided to surrender.
It's really too bad. If you had given me just a little more time, you would have guaranteed yourself the opportunity to become rich. You mentioned to me that you are an agent. I hope that means you are accustomed to danger.
Unfortunately, yes, it's true.
Very good. Then you may learn something. We can be the life of the party. Are you ready to do it? Come on, Keaton, let's go.
Hey, come back here!
Well, Keaton, we made it through. How's that? Thought you'd regret it. Stupid snow. It's just as bad as junk mail. Keeps on coming even though it knows you don't have any use for this stuff.
But wasn't it the snow that saved your country from being taken over by Napoleon and Hitler?
Exactly, but it wasn't just the snow that saved my mother country. Also remember that a lot of blood was shed. But snow could take all the credit by covering up the blood. Disgusting snow. Oh! What a damn nuisance. I'm sorry, comrade.
Well, let's hurry. The weather's getting worse.
The blizzard came because of the terrible things I said about the snow. The mafia will have trouble following us now.
We won't make it unless we reach the city. Let's hope we do.
It's just a blizzard, comrade. The storm will be over soon enough.
No, this blizzard's gonna last a while. We should rest here until it stops to avoid using up our strength.
I don't plan to sit around here all day. Waiting for us in the city is vodka and warm women.
Hey! Wait, don't go, Mr. Semyonov!
Filthy, disgusting snow. Trying to give me a challenge, is that it? I am immortal. Yet I won't lose. I refuse to.
So how do you feel now?
It would appear that you have saved my life, Keaton.
Not me, but this snow you said you hated. Snow actually has more air in it than it has ice crystals. packed like this, it can act as an insulator.
That may be your reason, but it's not why I'm still alive. The real reason is because I am immortal. Tell me, what is the blizzard like now?
Still strong. Oh, here's something for you. It's chocolate. I forgot I had it in my pocket.
But what about you?
It's okay. Hope it's to your satisfaction. It's a cheap brand.
Guess I'll try it. Wonderful. I'm in your debt. You've done so many things for me.
Really, it was nothing.
Let's see now. What would be the best way to pay you back? All right. I don't have anything too extraordinary to offer you. But if you'll permit me, I'll turn these long, dull hours into the time of your life.
What?
With an amazing story about treasure beyond anything you could imagine.
Treasure?
Untold treasure.
Really? A story about treasure. Sounds interesting. Let's hear it.
How familiar are you with the history of Nicholas II?
Well, he was the last emperor of the Russian Empire, right? In 1918, he and his family were executed in Siberia by troops who had joined Lenin's revolutionary government.
Not bad. Your answer shows you know much for an insurance man.
Oh, well, I used to study both history and archaeology.
You know the estimate of the family fortune he left behind?
Yes, the Romanovs are believed to have accumulated something in the order of around $8 billion.
Yes, that's correct. Platinum bonds and gold, the most thrilling of all, up to 500 tons.
But the gold shipment was transported east during the wars after the revolution and is missing even today. It's said to be tucked away somewhere in Siberia. There are many other legends surrounding it, like the outlandish story that the Japanese had discovered it at Manchu and had used the money to build up the country.
Greedy people with poor imaginations come up with all these dim-witted stories. All those theories were based on the assumption that the gold shipment was taken east. But here's a question. What if the gold were taken instead to the west?
To the west? But it was the middle of World War I, and during that time, the Germans occupied the western part of Russia, didn't they?
Well, it appears I am successful at entertaining you. There lived a prince who was also one of Nicholas II's subjects, Nikita Volkonsky. In the fall of 1916, he was called upon by the emperor and informed about the rising revolution and Germany's military strength that would mean the end of the Tsar. He was given a top-secret mission to carry the 500 tons of gold to England.
But why go to England? Of course, the King of England was George V, who happened to be the cousin of Nicholas II.
Very good, comrade. The emperor prepared for two possibilities. If the Germans captured Russia, he'd use his assets to form a new government from within England. And two, if the revolutionaries jailed them, gold could be offered to secure their release.
Yes. That makes sense.
Prince Volkonsky managed to transport the treasure from St. Petersburg. He shipped out from the port Arkhangelsk and headed into the Arctic Ocean to avoid attack from the German troops. He kept pressing on like a powerful bear, determined to reach the shores of England. Wary of the icebergs and the heavy fog, they kept charging on.
Really?
So tell me what you think was the chief factor that made him nervous.
Well, back in those days, the Germans had command of the sea. Of course, it was the U-boats!
Right once again. The first U-boat designed for active service plunged into the sea and immersed the English and Russians into a new world of terror. One report went so far as to say that the U-boat succeeded in sinking 800 ships in only 3 months.
And was his ship attacked by the U-boat?
If it was that simple, it wouldn't have been worth telling it to you for that delicious chocolate.
Then if that's incorrect, what happened to the ship?
Don't be in such a big rush. It was after the 6th day, when they were about 250 miles from Norway. A lookout spied another ship closing in, cloaked by the fog. A black shadow.
So it was the U-boat.
Yes, the men thought the same thing. So Prince Volkonsky ordered the helmsman to turn the ship around. They were attempting to avoid the U-boat. But as they fled, things went from bad to worse. The ship encountered a huge iceberg and was split in half. It sank to the bottom of the ocean, along with the treasure. Prince Volkonsky looked toward the black shadow, rising ever so slowly from the waters.
It was the U-boat!
No, it was an enormous humpback whale.
Huh? It was a whale?
Ah, the men on the ship panicked over a whale. There were no U-boats around that area.
Are you trying to tell me that if the whale hadn't appeared and forced the ship into an iceberg, that the treasure would have been transported to England, that Nicholas II himself might have lived, and that the history of Russia would have been completely different?
That's exactly it.
So, what happened to Prince Volkonsky?
Fortunately, he was rescued by a Norwegian fishing boat. They sent him to St. Petersburg, where he died. But not before leaving behind the story of what happened for his young son to know the truth. Prince Nikita Volkonsky's wife and child set off on foot and went east to avoid a revolution. But they were caught up in Russia's civil war. During their trek, the mother died in a blizzard. The son, now an orphan, was sent to China like the other refugees. He was given sanctuary in Hong Kong and finally made it to America.
But I just don't understand how you came upon this story.
Well, I just know.
But how do you know?
It's a secret. Well, we will soon be reaching the city, Keaton. Why don't you have a drink while we're there? Listen to some more stories.
Huh? Doc, Mr. Semyonov!
They're a nuisance even worse than the blizzard.
Semyonov, you're food for the wolves, swindling money out of us for that phony story.
If you think it's funny, then you're a fool!
Don't waste your breath. We have it on good authority that you yourself are a professional con artist. Give us back the 100 G's, old man.
Such a trifle, money. I spent it already.
What?
Looks like they're on the left-hand side of the hill.
How can you tell for sure? Left or right, who knows? If we make a wrong decision, both of us will be shot. You know, I think I owe you more than a good story for that delicious chocolate.
No, don't stand up!
Hey, you criminals! Over this way! He has nothing to do with this. It's between us. Go on, take your best shot at me.
Mr. Semyonov!
Go ahead, I dare you. But the secret of the treasure will be lost forever.
Mr. Semyonov, no!
An excellent job. A direct hit right through the heart.
Well, he had it coming. That swindler.
Yes, trying to talk his way into getting our money with that ridiculous phony Romanov story. Going on about some treasure.
But why'd you do that? Why lay your life on the line in exchange for cheap chocolate? You didn't have to do this. Your story was enough.
Cheap, but it was very tasty.
Huh? Mr. Semyonov, you're alive! But how'd you survive? I saw them firing directly at you.
But somehow I'm alive.
Oh, this diary inside your jacket saved your life.
So my father protected me.
Your father? How's that? Nikita A. Volkonsky. It's Nikita's signature. Tell me now, and just be honest. You're the son of Prince Volkonsky.
But I already told you.
Civilization.
Minoan civilization. The European culture that developed after the Roman Empire has its origins in Egyptian civilization, formed around 3000 BC.
Hello, may I ask you a question? Obviously, there's no pyramid or sphinx in Europe, so how do you know we originated from Egypt?
She's right, monsieur. Egypt has nothing to do with the way we live our lives today, huh?
Uh-huh.
Can you prove that there was no other civilization that existed before Egypt?
No, the oldest ruins are in Egypt.
There are more ruins out there, still undiscovered.
Okay, that's a very good question. We had a great discussion today, and I'd like to further explore that last point, but thanks to your overwhelming desire to learn, I've run out of notes. There's 5 minutes left, so until tomorrow, class is dismissed.
Professor, that was a superb lecture. I must say I had no idea I'd enjoy these lectures so much. I'll surely attend tomorrow.
Well, very appropriate for the final class. A homage to this historic school. A B+, sir. Now.
That's right. He deserves an A+.
I've never been known to give out an A+.
B+ is fine. I remember getting grades worse than that in school.
Mr. Keaton, you get a D-.
D-? But that's a failing mark. I don't want to be taught by a D-.
I'm so glad that we invited you to lecture here. This being the school's final classes, Mr. Keaton.
Well, Madam President, the students here are so energetic and willing to learn. I've thoroughly enjoyed teaching all of them.
It's been 40 years since I started at this school. I wanted to establish a place of higher education where everyone could once again have a chance to learn. But it's all over. They're constructing a home for the elderly. They'll tear the school down, but they'll keep the mural by Pigat.
Are you referring to that wall painting?
Yes, Pigat used to come here. It was done when he was still unknown. The man from the Ministry of Culture is coming, but only to look after the mural. We've gone past the demolition date. That's why all these buildings are being torn down. But it would please me if you would finish your course to the end. I've asked the man who's coming to see the mural not to interrupt your class, so I hope you'll cooperate.
Monsieur Moreau has arrived.
Invite him in. Here he comes now. I've been waiting for you, monsieur.
Are you still holding classes? You know, it's already past the demolition date.
Yes, I know.
Well, let's take a look at the wall painting.
Did I forget to lock up? Yuriko?
Dad, it's been a while.
I can't believe you're here in Paris. I'm in shock. When did you get here?
About an hour ago. It's a great view. Roofs in Paris are wild. Each one is so completely different. So, how's the teaching going at the school?
Okay. Are you hungry, Yuriko? I bought some bread. Oh, and some cheese. Let's have lunch together.
Mm-hmm. The River Seine.
So, Yuriko, how's your mother doing? Being promoted to professor. Great, huh? Yuriko? Yuriko? What are you doing? Wait up!
Oh, wow, Dad. It's so wonderful up here. A perfect place to have our lunch.
What are you doing? You're being childish. Wow, you're in the 8th grade now.
I'm already in senior high, Dad. Could you at least remember your own daughter's age? I don't want you to call me things I'm not, especially childish.
I'm sorry, honey, but it doesn't mean that I forgot that you're growing up, Yuriko.
Well, Mom just might be getting married.
Married? Your mom? So she's seeing someone then. Tell me, what's this guy like and what's his name?
Kidding. She's busy working away to reports, so I just came here for a vacation. Wow, right from the oven, Roquefort and radish. I can't chat if there's no Chambertin wine.
Yuriko, you're not old enough to drink.
So good. Hey, Dad. How's your teaching job here in Paris going so far? Not too well?
Actually, it's fine. I love the job I've been doing here. It's been great. But the school is about to be torn down. Seems I don't have the good fortune or the talent needed to be an archaeologist.
Dad, don't talk like that. How important is it for you to be an archaeologist? You think you can give it up just like that?
You see, archaeology's like an attic. Few people rummage through it.
An attic?
Yeah. Now that I think about it, my study room was kind of like an attic. A bit cramped, but full of things to discover.
Mr. Keaton, do you have something you'd like to contribute?
Well, I think other civilizations besides the Egyptians influenced Europeans. I think,
It's important to be led by instinct. It fosters new ideas. Let's hear your reasoning.
well, there are the plains and the river, which are necessary for farming wheat. So, I don't believe Egypt was the only influence to shape Europe's development. True, Egypt may have been the most dominant influence. Civilizations thrive in warm climates where food can be grown. One place in Europe has these conditions but still hasn't been researched. The Danube River Basin.
But Professor, no ruins have been found in that area.
Yes, exactly. Think about this theory. The civilizations with a belief system of immortal life made their villages out of stone. And those with a belief system based on transmigration made them out of wood.
I've heard of immortal life, but what is transmigration of life?
It's originally a concept from the Indian religions. They say the soul keeps on returning to live a new life.
Maybe they use wood because it wears out but can be rebuilt over and over, just like in their belief.
Then, what are you asserting? The civilization was built using wood as their base? Plus, it's somewhere in the Danube River Basin?
Let me answer that with a story.
No, couldn't imitate that.
Society may not yet embrace this idea. The question is...
This is a huge one.
You, keep it down, please.
All right, there's just 2 minutes left. That's fine, we'll stop now.
Dad?
Oh, no, I tell you, I'm right.
Listen, Dad, that stuff you were saying about attics, what gave you the idea to equate that with archaeology?
Oh, that? Well, when I was a small boy, I liked drawing blueprints for houses. My favorite room of all was the attic. Hiding up there, I tried to picture some kind of imaginary life through its window. Archaeology does the same thing. It lets me conjure up the world of the past. Yuriko, I think I want to go back to Japan to be near you. I don't mind my job in insurance, but I do know what I want most. It's... I had a great professor who taught me. He helped me decide what I wanted to do. To make my life's work archaeology. Taichi Hiraga Keaton, graduation thesis incomplete. Come see me at my office.
Come in. What is this thesis that you wrote, Mr. Keaton? You get a D-. A failing grade. As for your effort, I don't believe you worked on it at all. Your wife, I heard she's majoring in mathematics at Somerville College. I've also heard she's pregnant. I know you're working in the daytime, but that does not mean you're entitled to graduate from our school with a terrible thesis. Where there's the will, people can study, even under unfavorable conditions. If you can't study during the day, study at night.
It was the professor's study room. They were everywhere, all the books in the world. I even read in my dreams. I considered it the best time ever. It was incredibly difficult to get a passing grade, but I studied. I studied hard. But I learned the most precious thing in life wasn't in the books. It was the pure pleasure of learning that Professor Yuri Scott taught me.
Professor Yuri?
Yes, Yuri. That's where your first name comes from, Yuriko.
You mean from that amazing professor? But where does he live now?
He left the college shortly after the events I've been telling you about.
What?
It was Professor Scott who theorized about the origin of a civilization near the Danube River. But at the time, that theory was heresy. It meant expulsion from the Archaeology Society. But he voiced it, knowing what would happen to him. Sacrificing his career.
Mr. Keaton, you were a bit late, but I was confident you would be the first one to arrive. There is one thing I want to tell you. No matter what happens, keep up with your studies. Grow into a great archaeologist.
Then I'll meet you again.
There was a new address written on that letter, but as time wore on, I knew I couldn't go see him. I still need to grow up and become a man, right? Your mother eventually left. I didn't find a good job. The insurance work I'm doing on the side is slowly becoming my career, and I'm far from being a great archaeologist.
Why not go see him? I think you're the best archaeologist in the world.
Don't you see, he'd be over 90 years old by now. I wish I'd gone to see him earlier, but even now, I'm not sure if it's too late.
You don't even know if he's alive?
No, I don't, but I suspect he carried on his research even after he left the school.
What do you mean, suspect? He's not exactly a quitter.
Even in hard times, I never saw him give up his desire to attain and pass on knowledge. Shortly after the bombing, he continued to teach his class to the last minute. Yuriko, I was forgetting something extremely important. There's an incredible story about what he did.
The Secretary of Culture is coming here, but no one informed me. The final lecture is being held right now.
You must agree it's an honor to have him here instead of fretting over some class. And it's past the demolition date.
My theory asserts that ruins will someday be discovered along the Danube River. They will prove that it was the origin of European civilization. Now, this is the final day for Simmons Adult Education Center. I would like to ask all of you to promise me one thing. I want you all to keep on studying, even after the school's been closed down. That's really my only wish for you. Over the last few days, I'd been feeling disillusioned. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't face the reality of this school being torn down. But having you as my students made me realize something. You don't need a classroom to study in, as long as you have the passion to keep learning. So...
excuse me, Secretary Gravois has arrived now. Monsieur, the mural is here.
One moment, sir. We're still having our class.
Mais no, there's only 10 minutes left.
Right. We still have 10 minutes.
Keep quiet, you're forgetting the secretary.
I don't care who the man is. I want to tell the students about an old professor of mine. It all took place in London, 1941, during the war. He was invited to give a lecture. An airborne attack totally destroyed the college where he was speaking. But he didn't pay any attention to it.
Now then, young men, we have 15 more minutes. Let's resume class. The enemy is doing everything it can to rob us of our power and our ambition. If we don't continue to learn, we'll soon be in the hands of Hitler. Now, let's study. We'll remain strong if we're together. Yes, he'll help us make it through this dreadful war that's brought out the worst in human beings, hatred and murder. We will build a new civilization, one of hope. If ignorance is part of human nature, then our mission is to study that aspect and to overcome it. Sometimes a man like me tends to forget that mission, but my daughter straightens me out. If you've learned anything here, it's to keep studying. I've been inspired by you, and I will continue to study for the rest of my life. Wonderful, Professor. This time you get an A+. You might be interested to learn that I had another teacher who also had a theory about the Danube River. You two are the best teachers I've had.
Must be him. Professor Scott was here. Hey, Daniel, it's Keaton. I finished my job. I'll be coming back. Come on, don't be so hard on me. I'm on my way. Yuriko, where are you taking me?
The students want to give you a farewell party, Dad. Just keep running.
You did an excellent job, Mr. Keaton.
Great lecture from a man with a poor thesis.
Terrible, beautiful megaliths like this. A bulldozer smashed right through it while constructing the road. a long time, Anna.
Since the archaeology program at Oxford.
Tell me, what brings you out here to an isolated place like this? You remind me of an Old West cavalry soldier guarding Fort Apache.
I was simply attempting to protect the tomb. I believe it was built around 50 BC. They say it's the final resting place of Queen Guinevere. What do you think?
I don't think so. I believe that's an antechamber built before 1000 BC.
At one time, a gentleman called Lord Langley owned half the island, and he considered this burial site to be sacred. He didn't let anyone excavate it. When Oxford researchers came to do a dig in 1972, he even turned them down.
Yeah? This'll make big headlines if thieves haven't gotten to it first.
I had meetings with Lord Langley over the course of 5 years until he gave me permission to excavate it. But Lord Langley died about a month ago, and his disloyal son has since taken over and is forcing me to stop. I knew that I had to contact someone official. But the Ministry of Environment had a cabinet shuffle recently, and they weren't able to provide any assistance.
So you asked Lloyd's for help?
Lloyd's was actually the only one to offer me a hand. But I never imagined I'd be seeing you here.
Well then, I'll fly back to London to make my report.
Thanks, Taichi, that's very kind. But it's a little too late now. By tomorrow, this area will be leveled to make way for a hairpin curve.
For a hairpin curve?
So is it true? I heard talk about you getting a divorce.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Why'd you let her do it? You're never going to find another fabulous woman like her.
Yeah.
Back in college, you were known for your boldness and intelligence, Taichi, but also, to put it tactfully, your indecisiveness.
I give up. Fine, you got me. Sorry, I guess I'm just not brave like you or John Wayne.
Oh, really? You know, I haven't heard anyone say those words to me since our college days.
Well, as it so happens, I listened in on your chit-chat back then.
Here they come.
Anna, wait! I know you're brave, but this is crazy.
Don't worry, I haven't loaded it with bullets. I've been using rock salt instead.
What?
I don't have anything more to say to you, Sir Langley. Go away.
Well, that's jolly good for you, Anna, but I do. Need I remind you that it's illegal to trespass on private property, not to mention firing rifles as if the land is yours in the first place.
It's also a major crime to destroy ancient ruins, Sir Langley.
If those ruins are so precious, the government would certainly have shown more interest in them, am I right?
Oh, don't you worry, they will. My friend here has come from Lloyd's to do an assessment.
Hello there, I'm Taichi Keaton. Are you the surviving son of Lord Langley?
Yes, that's correct. My name is Edward. Come now, the time for this is past, Anna. Tomorrow this place will be paved with concrete. We must hurry along the new racetrack. We can't afford to lose this opportunity.
A racetrack?
Oh, yes. I'm building a racetrack for motorcycles on this island. Here there'll be a hairpin curve. Over there will be the pit stops. We'll hold huge events that will attract millions of tourists who'll flock here to see the races.
I can't believe you're doing this to their sacred burial site.
You outsiders think you know this island? Money doesn't come your way by preserving old ruins. Look, haven't you heard of the TT races on the Isle of Man? An island with 60,000 people, but during the racing season it jumps to 3 million. That makes for a nice, tidy profit. It's no good writing to my mother.
You are a coward.
I do hope you don't get the wrong impression here. You see, she has read your letters.
But I was given permission from your father to research these ruins. It seems to me your mother should know that.
She holds to the belief, follow your child when he follows you no more. You've simply chosen the wrong path. Women are the happiest when they know their place. Anna, you should obey men instead of fighting them. My advice is to find a suitable man while you're still young. The construction will commence tomorrow. Let's have no more protests or rifles, all right?
I simply can't compete with a bulldozer. Well, all right then, Taichi. I think I'm going to need your help until tomorrow morning.
Oh?
A long time ago, women inherited the property on this island. It's said that within this tomb is Guinevere, a priestess of the Druids, the religion of the Celts. The priestesses had ruled the island for generations.
So then this island...
Robert Cork, the 19th century archaeologist, insisted that this island was the land of the Amazons that were referred to in Greek mythology.
What?
Researchers from Oxford discovered many small statues that had a similar design. Take a look.
Oh, wow. The White Goddess. Oh, this is incredible.
Do you see that image over there, Tai Chi?
Oh, this is the door to the Holy Room. A mural.
So tell me then, what do you make of it?
It's possible that...
Do you remember that theory, the one I proposed when we were at college together?
Of course I do.
With this, I believe I may be able to prove it's true. I have until tomorrow when this wall will be torn down.
My ex-wife used to say that all the boys were crazy about you, but you never showed any interest.
Oh, you don't say. I had absolutely no idea I was so popular.
Come on, an attractive young woman like you? There was that Trevor. What happened to him? Not only was he crazy about you, but he was a brilliant guy.
He simply wasn't number one. And I only prefer number one.
Is that right? Well, there's one thing I can honestly say about you. You're an incredibly ambitious woman.
My mother was an even greater woman. She started off working part-time in a laundrette, and she ended up the owner of a high-class boutique.
Yeah, I heard all about that. I know you're enormously proud of your mother. Hey, how's she doing these days anyway?
She's been gone for almost 2 years now.
I'm so sorry, I didn't know.
She used to tell me all about her life in Czechoslovakia. So many times she boasted to me about how at the young age of 11 she defeated a Nazi tank all by herself. Don't you think that's rather silly? By tomorrow the bulldozer will be here, and these ruins will be destroyed. Even my mother couldn't stop that.
Huh?
Oh, am I interrupting your project here, Anna?
Ah, you must be Lady Langley.
It's been difficult for you. I'm sorry about my son.
It's fine.
Please.
I don't know if my son is making the right decision to secure the future of this island, but I'm not in a position to stop him.
I understand what you're saying.
I think our ancestors will forgive us for taking these kinds of liberties if it helps this island to become more prosperous.
Unfortunately, your ancestors weren't the ones responsible for the construction of these ruins.
Huh? But isn't this the tomb of Queen Guinevere, who once was a Celtic ruler?
It was built in a different era. I'm not just referring to this tomb, but to many tombs that exist all over Europe. In reality, they were built by a different race altogether.
Then can you tell me who made this?
We just don't know. Modern archaeology can't explain who these people were. It's still a mystery. They were guided by their religious faith. That's what these ruins were based on. And then, the people suddenly vanished.
Religious faith, you say?
It's known by scholars as the religion of the White Goddess.
I want you to take a good look at this. It's a mural. I believe this door leads directly to the holy shrine.
Anna has been working on a groundbreaking theory and believes that this is the palace of the White Goddess, or perhaps even a burial site for the priestesses.
So the meticulous work you're doing now, is it an attempt to fully restore the hidden picture?
Yes. If my theory has any validity, we should find depicted on this wall a figure in the image of the White Goddess.
Europe's Stone Age civilization is still a mystery to us, and this might be the key to unlocking it.
Yes, it's clear to me. Now then, Anna, do you think my son would have a change of heart and call off the construction if you were able to prove your theory?
No, I don't think so. But I'll do whatever I can tonight, since this is my last chance.
Anna, my dear, you're such a lovely young woman, so why persist in doing a man's job?
Because it's my mother's will.
Your mother's will?
That's right.
Anna, come here.
Mom, you're hurting me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Doing all of that washing has made them this way. But you should have seen what these hands could do, Anna. They're the same ones that once defeated a Nazi tank.
You did not.
Oh, yes, I certainly did.
Mother was born in Czechoslovakia. Her family was killed by the Nazis when she was 11. For 3 years, she fought against the German army, then defected to England on her own. She was without means until the age of 20, when she married my father. Shortly after I was born, my father had an accident which took his life. Following that incident, she devoted herself to me. We weren't well off, but she managed to put me through college. 2 years ago, she suddenly became ill. I reached the hospital, but then she was given a morphine injection and went into a coma. Before she had the injection, she asked the nurse to wake her up no matter what happened. Mum told her she had something to say to me, something very important.
So what was it she said to you?
She told me I don't have any regrets. I did everything I wanted to do in my life. You'd make me happy if you did the same. That's what makes a woman beautiful. I saw it on her face when she died, a smile.
She must have been such a wonderful mother.
Okay, Anna, stand back.
Is this the goddess you spoke of? It looks like the image of a pot with stalks of wheat poking out of it.
It's really too soon to tell what it is exactly.
Just look at her, Taichi. Don't you think it looks like the picture of the maiden by Violet Leduc?
Yeah.
The white goddess. Well, did she say something?
Oh, yes. She was quite impressed, not only with you, Anna, but with your work and the story about your mother.
Oh.
Hey, let's give it a try tomorrow, Anna. We'll reenact what your mother did during the war.
What are you saying?
We'll use our own two hands and fight the bulldozer. It'll be just like the time an 11-year-old girl fought back against an enemy invasion.
Come on, Taichi. My mother made that story up too.
You just never know.
Huh?
I mean, for your mother's sake, I think it's worth a try. Hello, ma'am. Thanks for the apron.
Did it work well for you?
Oh, yes. If it's not too much trouble, there's just one more thing I need to borrow. I'll return it in good condition.
Oh, yes, take what you need.
That's enough of this! I want you off my property now!
But isn't this just plain soap and water that we've got, Taichi?
Yeah. You know, Anna, your mother and the Czech resistance outwitted the Nazis by using this very simple technique. And go! The tracks will lose their grip when there's soaked water on the pavement and they'll spin out. Blast! You won't get away with this!
Edward! You have lost this battle, Edward. Go back home right now.
But why, Mother?
Here there was no gap between rich and poor. It was the society of equality ruled by a woman, their goddess. She may have been a symbol of fertility, death, and regeneration. Women were not considered weak. They were the creators of life, which made them special. I'll write up my report the moment I get back.
But early. Report? My theory on animal deterrence. It has been my life's work. And next fall, I am going to present my paper at the International Ecological Society in America. This is Akemi.
Hello there.
Hi.
I met her about a month ago in Roppongi. She had no place to go, so I asked her if she wanted to stay with me.
Now don't you two worry. I'll just drop them off and go right on to Tokyo.
Well, I'd offer you both a lift, but I brought an old friend along. As you can see, no room. We'll be waiting for you up there. Don't be long.
Hey, wait up! Take our bags! Too late.
The smell of the woods. The Japanese countryside is the best. Agreed, Tasuke. Well now, Yoriko, isn't this great? It was smart of me to buy this house 40 years ago. I couldn't afford real estate like this today. It was your grandmother's idea. Patricia really loved the countryside. Nothing has changed since those early days. It's exactly the same as when she was with me. This place is in tip-top shape, isn't it?
Thank the neighbors. It's the Shinjos who did all this. They took care of the place, not you. You're lazy, and that's all there is to it, Grandpa. Well now, how about we get started?
Get started on what? In the first place, why'd you invite your grandfather? It was supposed to be father and daughter.
Shame on you, treating your own father like a nuisance. It's no small wonder that your wife just up and left you.
Same goes for you.
Perfect. And that's going to be the theme for this camp.
Did you say camp?
Dad and Grandpa, don't you know the two of you are suffering from the same problem? You both got involved with women who left you, but you're still in love with them.
Well, I don't know about Tai Chi, but you're quite mistaken about me.
Yuriko, I don't want you to treat me the same way you treat your grandfather.
You guys don't understand what women believe to be the most important of feelings. Think about your future. Are you planning to lead a solitary, lonely life? Get it? How do you think I'd feel having such a lonely father and grandfather? All right, what should you guys do to bring back your ex-wives? How will you get all 5 of us to live together? This is the theme of our camp. Try to use your brains. And one more thing. We will all take turns cooking the meals.
So, is your grandfather with you this time?
Yes. He's not a perfect man, but I do hope that you'll be patient with him.
Not perfect? That's a good one!
Yuriko, dear, have some of these pears. I'm afraid they aren't as good this year, but I hope you like them.
Thank you so much.
Hello there. I heard Professor Hiraga's arrived. I've missed having him here.
Oh, Mrs. Murata. You should say hello to her. She used to help out the Hiraga family. Oh, that was many years ago, of course. When Professor Hiraga, Patricia, and young Taichi all lived here.
Hello, ma'am.
The granddaughter.
Well, Mrs. Hiraga's granddaughter. You look so much like her, don't you, dear? So, where's Mrs. Hiraga?
Yuriko does have a point. Especially in your case, Taichi. You're absent-minded and you don't know the first thing about women.
Well, you have a lot of nerve talking about why my wife left. At least I didn't go after every woman I happened to meet.
You don't understand anything about our situation. Despite what happened, Patricia is still in love with me. Your mother was a woman full of mercy and understanding, and she forgave me for what I did outside the house.
Oh, Father, do you honestly believe that? Did you give this any serious thought? Why she took me away when I was 5? And why she headed back to England?
This place is so full of wonderful memories of your mother. She was a great woman, my Patricia. Hey, Taichi, remember the amazing buckwheat noodles she used to make? Right from scratch? We ate them with fresh wasabi horseradish from the Shinjos. Oh, how delicious they were.
Yeah, they were great, but what I remember most was the summer pudding she made. It smelled so good.
Is that so? They're no longer together. Professor and Mrs. Hiraga are divorced, are they?
Yes. It's been over 30 years since then. My father was only 5. He was brought up in England by my grandmother. Just the 2 of them.
So tell me, where is your mother, Yuriko?
My parents also got divorced when I was 5. My father and grandfather have the exact same history. They were both left by their wives.
Oh, poor Yuriko. I feel sorry for you.
Huh? Don't worry. Even though I get mad at them sometimes, they really are wonderful people. I wouldn't trade them in for all the gold in the world.
Gold in the world? But what do you mean, dear?
Ma'am, so tell me, what was my grandmother like when she was young?
Huh? Oh, Mrs. Hiraga? She was such a beautiful woman, your grandmother. She came from a prominent family in the south part of England. She was calm and warm like a quiet, gentle summer's day. She was very elegant and refined. I used to see her when she took walks by herself, but I remember one day in particular, she was standing alone, staring out into the forest like she was trying to remember something. She didn't look like her usual self. She seemed very lonely. Shortly after that incident, I heard everyone say that she had suddenly gone back to England, but I didn't realize they were divorcing. So, how is your grandmother doing now?
Oh, she's doing just great these days. She's running several businesses and has become a millionaire.
You know, I'm the one who gave Patricia the recipe for buckwheat noodles. She was amazing in the kitchen and caught on very fast. Oh, I just hope I remember how to do it after all this time.
Mom's summer pudding. You take some bread without the crust. Next, pour in the raspberry juice and fruit.
These are perfect. Now, all they need is a little wasabi horseradish. That's okay. Come.
Ah, yes. Finished.
I'm home! Look at this. They're always wandering around. Where did those guys get to now? What are you up to, huh?
Well, you know the pudding your grandmother makes. I'm trying to do it myself, but there seems to be something missing. Oh, maybe it's here.
How'd your talk go?
I could have sworn that Mom left a recipe book around here somewhere.
And may I ask, where did Grandpa go?
No idea. I saw him going out the door, but...
What could you two possibly be thinking?
The water's all dried up. See that? They've all turned brown.
First off, it has a different aroma. It smelled like mint, but had a different quality. I remember it was slightly sweet and refreshing. Here it is.
Don't you think it smells nice? It's the scent of a nymph. Huh, the scent of a nymph? Yes, it's an ancient legend. Persephone, the wife of King Pluto, is said to have been a very jealous woman. She changed the nymph whom King Pluto loved into the plant that has the scent. But Persephone wasn't really jealous at all of her husband, the king. And the nymph, well, she...
Yes, the scent of a nymph. She's the daughter of Casitas. Her name was Minthe.
Well, Tasuke, the horseradish plants are kaput. We're lacking that final touch. Oh, how I miss those noodles.
Father, I'm pretty sure I found the answer. It was originally grown back in Cornwall. It's pennyroyal mint. I'm borrowing the dog. Tasuke, come. Come on.
But my problem is more serious. The noodles need wasabi horseradish.
This scent is 30 years old. But you can find it, right? Okay, go, boy. You found it already? Huh? Now look, Tasuke, who told you to find a frog?
Taichi? What's this?
It's Mom's mint field.
It's Patricia's.
This is Mother's notebook.
I have planted a few sprouts of the pennyroyal mint that I brought with me from the gardens in Cornwall. I will cherish this as my secret home.
That's the scent. But they're withering away.
The sun was too strong, the water didn't come up high enough. Just like with the wasabi horseradish.
Pennyroyal mint. It's almost extinct in Cornwall, too. More importantly, it's a memory of the time Mom spent here.
So what's going on here? What are you making besides no dinner?
ladder! I found it!
Oh boy, good job.
I found it in Mr. Shinjo's shed. It's pretty old, but we'll fix up this motor and it should work fine for us.
Your lunch is ready. Hey, I said your lunch is ready. You guys.
What's going on here?
Yeah, what's this all about?
Oh, sorry for all this. I know it's late. Dad, Grandpa, you're disturbing the neighbors.
Yes, we did it.
Come on, you can do it. We're counting on this thing. Here it comes. Looks like we did it, Touchy.
Hey, everyone! They drew the water up the hill!
Now we can plant the horseradish once again.
Well, your father and grandfather sure are geniuses, Eureka.
There's another version of the myth that explains why Minty was magically transformed into the plant. You see, Minty was from the fairy world, just like Persephone, Pluto's wife. But only Minty could travel between their world and ours. Minty carried the scent of the fairy world, and every time Persephone smelled it, she had an overwhelming desire to be home again. She tried to erase the memories by changing Minty into this plant, but she couldn't hold herself back, and she returned to the world of the fairies. Some experts say that mint has a strange effect on us and that it helps our minds to retain memories more easily. So it's possible Mom returned home because of this mint, and not because of any problems you had.
Grandpa! Phone call!
For me?
Yes, it's a Kenny.
So, why is that silly woman phoning me now? I gave her strict instructions not to call you.
Oh, he's really pushing it. Well, what were you two talking about?
Huh? This is what you call a scenic view of Japan.
Sure is.
Isn't it beautiful? Lots of villages have this view in the countryside.
Yeah.
But your grandmother's home village, it was a place filled with the aroma of mint.
Grandpa! Grandpa? I think Grandpa went back to Tokyo, Dad.
What?
I received a phone message saying that an American friend of mine came for a visit, so I decided to go back to Tokyo. I won't have to wait. In 10 days since then. We've received no word, and nobody has turned up.
So you came to us for assistance with this nasty business?
I must say we're at a loss. What more can we do here?
Do you think their motive could be political?
No, sir, not at all.
Could it be a grudge?
We're still investigating. Mr. Takita was reassigned here 4 years ago to build a factory. He's established good relations with the locals and is well thought of. He may have acquired enemies because of his splendid achievements.
I'm Inspector Douglas, Kidnap Investigations Unit at Scotland Yard.
May I introduce Kozo Takita, Mr. Takita's father?
Hello. Thank you. I'm Fumio Hisayama, President, UK Division.
Mrs. Takita?
She She's in bed. The strain was just too much for her.
I'm to blame. I shouldn't have done it, reporting this incident to the police.
That's nonsense.
Easy. Please rest assured, kidnappers today are aware that they will be reported to the police immediately.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. Someone just barged through security and is heading your way.
He's back. My husband's come back home. Honey!
A kidnap negotiator?
Yes. Yazawa had a contract with Lloyd's that covered kidnap insurance.
Kidnap insurance? That's utterly ridiculous.
Superintendent Costner, please. Kidnappers will demand huge ransoms that can sometimes drive companies into bankruptcy. Lloyd's is able to handle the coverage for them. When you stop to consider it, it's a wise idea.
But sir...
Superintendent Costner. Sir, has there been any more contact with the kidnapper?
No, there's been nothing.
That's strange. I had even placed an ad in the newspaper.
What's that? Had prepared cat food, free the Japan feline, Yazawa. What's this? You put this ad in for the kidnapper? What in God's name do you think you're doing here?
Great idea.
Huh?
An information blackout that's under our control. If the kidnapper reads this ad, then he will believe that another party has begun negotiations with us, and that someone else will beat him to it and swindle all the ransom money away from him.
Wait. Huh? Go ahead.
What? You want me to? Hello?
Mrs. Takita, someone's trying to trick you. Is the ransom money ready? Hey, are you there?
My husband, give him back, please, sir.
Don't worry, he's alive. I'll ring you later.
That negotiator they sent, Keaton, he's a true professional.
I don't know about that. Making her pick up the phone in her state. That I can't fathom.
With kidnapping, the family is vital. The odds of the hostage surviving improve when a close member of the family picks up the telephone. And the ransom actually tends to decrease when family members become emotional.
Come now. It's about getting the kidnapper.
In any case, £25 million is rather outrageous. Average ransom in Europe's $2.5 million. Even Lloyd's couldn't pay more than that.
Trust me, the kidnapper always takes his job very seriously.
Yes, but what happens if he loses his temper?
That won't happen. He's a professional. And they don't damage their goods because they want the money.
So then my husband will come back alive?
Yes, you can trust me on this. Your husband is fighting for his life right now. You're really the only one who can give him strength. Only you should pick up. Just you. No one else, Mrs. Takita.
But I don't think I could stand it.
Excuse me, aren't you Japanese?
Well, my father comes from Japan.
Oh, then may I ask you a question? What is your share of the figure that's been set for the ransom? If you are successful in lowering the ransom, then Lloyd's gives you the balance, am I right?
No, sir, I'll only receive my regular wage, nothing more. My mission is to find the best solution to get you out of this mess. That's all.
That's the truth?
It's the truth.
Okay. I've decided that we should trust this gentleman. I realize this is hard on you, but...
I'll try.
So is the money ready?
My husband?
He's all right.
Before handing you all the money, I want proof. Ask him to sing the first phrase of his college song.
No, nothing in Japanese.
Then ask him when our wedding anniversary is.
I'll ring you back tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Wait, we've been getting our fair share of prank calls lately. Could we please decide on a password? I'll be Apollo. And how about you be Achilles?
No. You be Achilles, and I'll be Apollo.
The first stage is a success. The principle of the barter system, forcing the kidnapper to prove the existence of the hostage.
And we found out he can't speak Japanese. There's also a strong likelihood that he's well educated. The kidnapper wouldn't use Japanese in case we chose a password he didn't understand. And he switched passwords, forgoing Achilles in favor of Apollo, who was deemed immortal, which means he probably knows that Apollo killed Achilles.
water.
Your anniversary is on January 14th. Is the money ready?
Well, I've asked the company, but I was only able to secure £1 million.
No games. Ask for more.
That's all there is.
There's a present waiting for you in Milford Haven. Have a look and think it over.
Inspector, the driver's body was found in Milford Haven. He's been strangled.
Look, can't the company pay for my son's ransom, Mr. Isayama?
But that sum of money is quite simply out of our reach. It would bankrupt us. We've only one hope left, the insurance money from Lloyd's of London.
Mr. Keaton, please help us out.
The negotiations are just beginning. In this situation, they have the advantage. So, we must do everything we can to protect Mr. Takita. It may sound strange to you, but our plan is to oblige the kidnapper. It's important that we build a relationship of trust with him. Sir, could you help Mrs. Takita to her room? She needs some rest.
Hello? This is Lloyd's. They want Mr. Hisayama.
Yes, Hisayama speaking. Can I help you? Mr. Keaton, the situation has changed. Your job is finished here. Lloyd has reviewed the case. Under the circumstances, they've declined to pay the ransom. There will be no money paid out for Mr. Takita. To tell you the truth, Mr. Takita quit our company the day before he was kidnapped. 3 weeks ago, he came to head office and submitted his resignation. We offered to relocate him to Japan if he would stay on. But he was determined, and head office accepted his resignation the day before the incident. The day he was kidnapped, Mr. Takita cleaned out his office. My people were hanging on to the hope that Lloyd's would still continue to cover this. However, Mr. Keaton, your job here is officially over. You can leave now.
Wait, Mr. Keaton. Name your price. I'll sell everything I own if you just stay. How much?
First off, we'll take care of her. Then we'll talk.
My husband. 4 years ago, he got us transferred to this country. I did my best to help him. I learned English and hosted parties. But as for all the other Japanese families, they were going back home. I was beginning to feel more and more isolated here. He was busy with his work. I hardly ever saw him. Listen, darling, the company promised it would only be a year before they'd send us back home. But in fact, it's been 4 years now.
I'm sorry, but I still need more time. The company's been growing so quickly. I can't go back now.
Today happens to be your birthday. Promise to come home early tonight?
Okay.
But he came back home in the middle of the night. I must admit, I lost my temper. He just stood there. I'd never seen him look so sad. Oh, please, save my husband.
I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm convinced your husband is a good man. We have an obligation to put an end to this terrible ordeal. He must be rescued.
Oh, Mr. Keaton, thank you. Thank you so much.
£3 million.
That's right, £3 million. Our head office in Japan still wants to treat Mr. Takita as our employee, but they also want the ransom lowered to this amount.
What do you think, Mr. Keaton?
I actually think it is a reasonable amount.
Mr. Carroll is here now. Oh, Mr. Carroll?
It's time for us to be going now. Come on.
Is this fellow the negotiator from Lloyd's? Are you sure he's any good?
So who is he?
That was Jack Carroll. He's in charge of the labor union. When we first began the investigation into the kidnapping, he was a prime suspect.
Weren't relations good between Mr. Carroll and Mr. Takita?
Jack Carroll was a good mechanic and a promising candidate for head supervisor, but it was a well-known fact he had issues with Mr. Takita's management style.
Those who are on the road to success may make a wrong turn.
And so did you, but in your case, it's a good turn.
What?
I heard you took this job for half of your regular salary.
Apollo.
Achilles.
And the money?
£1.5 million. I did my very best.
20 million pounds. You've seen the driver's body. This is no joke.
Honestly, we can't. Hello, sir?
10 million pounds. That's final.
But you do not understand. It is all I have.
I've cut off his finger. Next will be the ears. Go to the call box on Tudor Street. There you will find a most interesting picture.
Did you think that I'd be pleased to see a photograph like this?
This photograph is a forgery.
What?
They were using gear as a warning, so the kidnappers were forced to play the only card they had left. Now they've come to a stalemate and need to show their strength. Look closely. They simply had Mr. Takeda fold his finger for the picture. If they'd actually cut it off, they would have sent it to us.
I see. Good then. So we'll wait. That'll keep things running. But only until Takeda comes back, of course.
No, they're playing their cards, now we'll play ours. 5 days. No, maybe 7 would be better. Could you organize a large-scale strike?
Oh, now I get it.
Have you seen the snapshot? How much will you pay? 7 million? 8 million? Hey, what's wrong?
You read the papers? Employees at the company all went on strike. They're going bankrupt. I had no money to pay you. You killed him, didn't you?
I know about the strike, but he's alive.
That's enough. My husband is dead.
I'll ring you back at 1 p.m.
Was that okay? How was I?
So, after the kidnappers get the money, are you saying that there is still a chance they could
kill the hostage? It's like negotiating to purchase mystery merchandise. It seems that there are no rules, but there are. If this kidnapper is a pro, he should know that.
Keaton, are you suggesting that we should trust this cold-blooded kidnapper?
Yes. I agree the man is cruel. But we will still negotiate. Yes, we've no choice but to trust him.
How much can you pay?
2.7 million pounds.
3 million pounds.
I can't raise 3 million. Look, I'll try for 2.92 million, but that's it.
Okay, you've got a deal. But I have a message from your husband. It's not good. He says, today's your birthday, right? He says, I'm sorry I couldn't get something for your birthday, but I hope my safe return will suffice in lieu of a gift.
We fastened a bicycle to the car as instructed. It should be noticeable from a distance. You remember where the drop-off point is, right?
Yes.
Mr. Hisayama? I have decided. Please let me go instead.
Mrs. Takeda.
Please, sir. You must let her go.
This has been an ordeal, but it's made me realize how much he loves me, and how much he means to me. I must go for his sake. Yes? It's my husband. He's fine. He's calling us from a payphone near Bath.
Shuji, is that really you? Listen, son, there's a man right here who helped us out. Oh, but where is Mr. Keaton?
Is this better for you?
Next stop, Köln.
I heard that there's a great cathedral here in Köln. Did you not hear me? I said I wish to see the cathedral. How beautiful.
It's 157 meters tall. It took over 600 years to build, starting in 1248 when the foundation was laid, and...
Enough. The sun's hurting my eyes.
sit there staring. That's my luggage sliding away. My suitcase and cookie. This is no laughing matter.
What seems to be the problem here, sir?
You saw me put my beige purse on this very spot. Well, didn't you?
Sorry. I'm afraid that
My ticket wasn't the only thing in that bag. I had my passport and wallet in it as well.
Believe me, I understand your dilemma, but it puts us in a bind.
I'm the one being put in a bind here.
Where exactly are you headed?
To Basel.
That's where I'm going. How about this, sir? I'll just pay for her ticket.
That would be a great help.
It's a jewel that's been handed down for many generations in my family. I'll let you have this. You can't pay my way and not let me give something to you. Wake up now. It's Koblenz. There's a man in this town who used to work for me. I will go borrow some money from him.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
I know, and you're coming with me.
What?
Have you forgotten? I'm just a poor old woman who had her passport and wallet stolen from her.
But I already told you I'm heading for Basel.
Can't you see? That jewel I gave you is expensive. It's worth the price of a train ticket hundreds of times over.
It's just a well-made imitation.
Get out of here, you old fat! I'm telling you, I don't know the guy.
It can't be. I know for a fact he was... Oh. Well, I never. People these days have no manners.
It's okay. Let's take a taxi and head back to the station.
It's better if we walk. A taxi would be much too extravagant.
Wow. Today's special is Bavarian liver and spätzle. That sounds so delicious.
What are you doing wasting your time here? I'm being followed. Run!
Huh? What? Are you okay? May I help you?
You all right? You were just checking the menu of that restaurant, yeah? I thought that I could show you a better one that has authentic German cuisine.
I have no money, so you're paying for both our meals.
Oh, yes. The jewel should more than adequately compensate me for all these petty little expenses.
I'm glad we understand each other.
Oh, what a day this has been.
You have been thinking that you are stuck with a stubborn old woman suffering from paranoia, correct?
No.
I don't have a persecution complex. For many years, I really have been followed by someone. Yes, there is a good reason for those in the Secret Service to hunt me down. You see, my name happens to be Louise von Hohenstaufen, and my family comes from a long line of nobility in Bohemia. We owned a large section of forest land. Our family had lived a life of luxury for generations. We prospered in the times of hardship during the war, even when the country was under the control of the Nazis. I once went to a magnificent ball they threw. The officers took us out for a long horseback ride. I had many suitors, you know. I was quite popular. And yet there was only one gentleman who won my heart. He went by the name of Herr Heinrich of Neuberg. However, everything had taken a terrible turn for the worse in the year 1944. The Soviet troops came after the Nazis. Our family life had changed. It was a difficult time, but we all pulled together and somehow managed to make it through. Our family then became destitute. After a few months went by, I was finally in a position to see Heinrich, but the entire ordeal had drained him and he looked like an entirely different person. He refused to hand over his property to the government, so they withheld his food rations. The poor man was starving to death. It was during that time he told me,
Louise, our country's heading in the wrong direction in the name of socialism. It's becoming corrupt. I need you to relocate my private property. I've carefully hidden it. Take it to West Germany for me.
I haven't seen or heard from him since.
I've spent my life as a wanderer pursued by the STB, the Czechoslovakia Secret Service, for my part in smuggling out national property.
Bohemia. Nobles of Czech forests. But if memory serves, they were...
Well, we have departed Basel-Badischer Station, so our trip together is coming to an end.
Guess so.
The city of Basel stretches over 3 countries, France, Germany, and Switzerland. There are 2 stations. The one we've just departed from is in Germany, and the upcoming central station is located in Switzerland. In fact, we are almost there.
The customs officer's coming to check the passports.
The last mountain to climb.
What mountain?
I lost both my passport and my money while I was with you, but I still want to go over the border. So, how will you help me out?
What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, what's your plan?
Relax, just sit back, enjoy a drink. Good. Here, have another. That's done. We need a song. Sing.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey, I know. How about a folk song? Let me hear one.
A song? Trees of the forest all speak to me tenderly.
Wonderful.
If they
Keep going.
are watching us, kinsmen whisper, warm hearts beat mightily. Primroses are blooming in the
Hello, could you please show me your passports?
Of course. Here are my papers.
And now, sir, do you have anything to declare?
No, nothing.
Danke. Is she with you, sir?
No, she's not. We just met today here on the train. She said she's from Switzerland.
That's fine with me.
Sweet home, we call you Saxony.
You're a terrific actress. Song's over now.
Oh, my sweet home, we call you Saxony. My home.
It's time to say goodbye.
I suppose.
Oh, Miss von Hohenstoff and I'm meeting a friend who's already here. Take care now.
Why do you think you're going, leaving me like that?
What?
You may remember that I gave you a precious jewel which is worth a fortune. You haven't even taken the time to thank me. What is the matter with you?
Huh? And what's the matter with you? The priceless jewel you gave me is a fake, and I suspect you are too. The jewel is an imitation. I'll bet the story you told me about your life isn't real either. Even your name. Czech industrialization came early, and the forest nobility were gone by the early 20th century. The folk song that you sang was from Saxony. You're German, through and through. I wasn't going to let on that I knew about all this, however. Farewell.
Wait. All right, then. It's true that the story about Bohemia was a lie, so let me tell you a story about Saxony. My first name is Helmina, but my surname is Welf. I am the wife of Herr Rudolf, and he was the 26th heir of the Welf family, who came from the south part of Saxony. The family were of noble stock. They had owned a large property in southern Saxony, from Langelsalz to Melsungen. Then, in the year 1945, after the end of the war, the new border that divided East and West Germany, it passed right in front of our door, and it cut right through our garden. In the beginning, we were able to go back and forth without any trouble. Then once the Berlin Wall went up, security grew much tighter. And then they completely banned us from ever crossing the border. One day, my 10-year-old son Otto was playing out in the yard all on his own. He wandered off to the eastern side. He never came back.
My husband tried negotiating with the East through West German officials. He waited for a reply, but received none. Days passed and still there was no news. We then heard a rumor that East German officials were holding our son. They were bound and determined to confiscate our property. Rudolph decided he had to go into the eastern side. He would deal with them himself. He never came back either. I waited 10 years. No word. That's why I had to change my name, and that's why I made the daring decision to sneak into the East, to make contact with the underground. No, that's not true. It can't be true.
I'm sorry. I know it's hard, but Herr Rudolf Welf has met with a tragic end. He defied them, but the East German government insisted that the eastern portion of the Welf estate was theirs, and they took steps to accelerate the process. Herr Welf took matters into his own hands and was able to set up a secret Swiss account where he transferred all his assets. He valiantly refused to give in to the demands of the officials and insisted that the Eastern Bloc was headed for certain disaster. They starved him to death. He asked me to tell you this. He wanted the money from the Swiss account to go to the resistance movement. But remember, if you choose to do this, you'll be found out to be a supporter.
I don't care about that. And Otto? What about my son? Where is he now?
He's living on the eastern side.
Is he well? Is he doing all right?
Yeah, he's doing as well as he can. In this country.
Then, after that, I made a journey to the west. I withdrew the money from the Swiss bank account and used it to organize a resistance group. Mein Herr, what do you think of the story I told you now?
Well, I don't know.
You said that the jewel was a phony. Those were your words. So now I'll give you this one here.
You're running a little late. Sorry about that, Daniel. I bumped into an interesting woman. Yes, I'm Beabit, or local if you have it, please.
So, who was this person?
She insisted she was of noble stock. She was a great storyteller, that's for sure. Couldn't pull myself away.
Come on now, are you sure she wasn't some kind of swindler or something? Did she take anything from you?
Well, I guess you could say that.
Then why do you look so cheerful?
Well, before we parted ways, she gave me this. Could be real, but it's probably imitation.
Huh?
Anything wrong?
It can't be.
Yeah, what can't be?
No, nothing at all. It's just similar to a stone in the Lloyd's files. The Saxon blue.
Saxon?
It's a stone that's said to reflect the green of Saxony's forests. It was handed down for generations within the Welf family.
Welf family?
Yeah, it was a very tragic story. The family was split in two with the division between East and West Germany. The Saxon blue. It's said to be passed on down to the heir of the Welf estate. Or so they say. Huh? What's wrong, Keaton? Where are you going?
Take this ring.
No, that's too much. I can't do that.
I must say, you certainly are a rare young man.
Governor, I'd like to...
Who's there? Who's there? I didn't kill Dorfman. I'm innocent.
Oh.
Stay back! Someone's framing me!
And who do you suppose is framing you?
I really don't know, but when I was in the room talking to Dorfman, someone suddenly appeared at the other door and fired right at him! I told you not to move!
If you're innocent, defend yourself in court.
Are you mad? Who would ever believe anything I said?
You were surrounded. You can't get away.
I'll die first!
Think you can kill yourself with a 22? Delivering a bullet through the temple won't do much damage, even if it comes out the other side. You'll still have a life, but you'll have to get used to being a cripple. You should get a bigger gun if you want to die. Just stick the barrel inside your mouth. And clamp your teeth. The angle's also important. You must make sure that you pierce the skull behind your brain. Use the rifle.
But just how do you expect me to get my life back?
That's your call.
Mr. Chapman, once again, you caught the suspect without the aid of the police.
It's my civic duty.
Mr. Chapman, can you confirm that Garner was a criminal associate of Dorfman's?
No comment. That's confidential.
Is it true you talked Garner out of committing suicide?
I've no comment.
Mr. Chapman, many thanks for your assistance.
Who is that man?
Ah, an agent from Lloyd's.
He's from Lloyd's? So it is you, Taichi. Well, it's been a long time.
Charlie Chapman.
You're looking well. So I hear you're working as an insurance investigator for Lloyd's.
And I've heard you've become the most famous detective in the world.
Still second to Mike Hammer.
But how did you discover Garner's hideout?
The records revealed that the house was once owned by Dorfman. It's simple if you think about it. Ring me up sometime if you run into any trouble, okay?
Thanks, I sure will.
It's over. There's nothing more to be done on this case. That daft smile of his hasn't changed a bit.
Are you ready to go through with it, mate?
Yeah?
Train's coming soon. Just stand still. The first one to jump away is a chicken. And gives up his right to the secret place. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Look, Charlie!
You lot go hide.
We're with you, Charlie! You're gonna win!
A thrill, wouldn't you say?
Oh no! Look out! Charlie! Charlie won! Taichi blew Charlie back! Yay!
But I don't see them here. Huh? I once heard that when you're run over by a train, there's nothing left of you at all.
What?
I know that I cheated. I jumped to your side right before the train came. Like I promised, this place is yours. So my mate and I will never play rugby here again.
Thanks a lot!
Hey, why'd you go through with that just to keep us from playing here?
Because this place is amazing.
Amazing?
All these ruins. And the water. Well, amazing, huh?
Yeah. From now on, you can call me Charlie.
I'm Taichi.
You know, Taichi. You don't happen to remember what I yelled out, do you? When the train came.
Oh, you mean when you yelled Mama? Don't worry, it's our little secret.
Roger, my own son, you're smashing. Let's eat.
And I do have a keen eye for beautiful women. Taichi? Hey, Taichi! You made it!
It's formal dress. I'll go change.
No, I insist. You come in and try my mother's cooking.
Don't be timid. Please have as much of this as you'd like.
That's my mother. But come to think of it, you've never actually met her, have you?
Charlie, don't you ever speak with your mouth full. It's horribly impolite.
Right.
And take a good look at your hands, Charlie. I told you once already to wash them.
Yes, I heard you.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoy tonight's dinner.
Blimey, can't please my mother, no matter how old I get. Well then, shall I tell you the details concerning my last case? It happened during the 5th wedding anniversary party thrown by the art dealer Edward Dorfman and his wife Janet. A gunshot suddenly rang out. Janet held back the guests and opened the door to the sitting room. There she saw an officer from Scotland Yard. In his arms he was holding the bloody body of Dorfman. It was Garner. Dorfman's mother contacted me and asked that I investigate the case. Garner testified in a police interview, and I quote,
I was speaking with the art dealer Dorfman on a matter of personal business. Suddenly the door of the sitting room swung open, and someone took aim and fired.
However, the bullet extracted from Dorfman was a 7.65mm. That bullet can be loaded into a Walther PPK, the gun that Garner normally uses. As I began my investigation, I found out that Garner was taking bribes from Dorfman. I also found out that Dorfman was being very generous to McBain, an unknown painter. Are you McBain?
Huh?
This is quite a nice painting.
Thank you.
There's something vaguely familiar about this one. The man undoubtedly had talent, but all his works were copies of Cézanne, Van Eyck, and Monet. The masters. In other words, he specialized in forgeries. Dorfman was replacing original paintings with fakes. Whenever there were any entanglements, Garner would show up to deal with them. That's how the story unfolded, my friends.
Oh, it's all very clear now. So Garner was in on Dorfman's little scheme, but in the end there was a falling out over money. Was that it?
Yes, precisely.
Oh. But even though Garner had a Walther PPK, that alone isn't sufficient proof that he was indeed the guilty party.
Science holds the key.
Huh?
We then analyze the marks on the bullet.
Marks on the bullet?
Inside the barrel of a gun is a spiral groove. Every firearm has one that's slightly different. When the gun is fired, the barrel leaves a distinct marking on the bullet. It's essentially a gun's fingerprint. It can't be made artificially, so this type of identification is highly reliable as proof. Yes, as I suspected, the marks on the bullet found in Dorfman were an exact match to those created by Garner's gun. That's it, Taichi. You said you wished to talk. Have you finished the insurance investigation?
Actually, things aren't going that well. Hey, I'm wondering if you could do me a little favor.
Who, me?
Ah, come on, Charlie.
All you wanted from me was access to the evidence? What do you want with that? The case is closed.
Charlie, where did the officers find this rolled-up piece of leather?
In the garden near the house.
It looks like something's painted on it.
It's grease.
Grease?
Huh? Like Walther?
Think, do you remember it ever leaving your sight?
Let's see now. It's possible I left it behind in the hideout at Chester. I always put it in a drawer when I go to bed.
This is delicious. Maybe the best in London.
Right, with the exception of my mother's.
Your mother certainly knows how to whip up some fantastic dishes.
So then? Don't you play the fool! You dragged me all over the city with you. Listen to me. The case has already been solved, mate.
Charlie!
I have solved this case.
Charlie!
Don't just sit there, mate. Say something.
Well, Garner asked Lloyds to initiate further investigations to help him prove his innocence.
What's that?
In exchange for disclosing where Dorfman had stashed the authentic paintings.
Nonsense. Garner murdered Dorfman.
I used to think so as well. Until I saw this.
A cartridge?
I spotted it over by the pool at Garner's.
On the very same day that I apprehended the man.
It's a cartridge from a bullet that was fired from Garner's Walther. I checked.
So, what about it then?
Question is, why would a bullet from his gun be lying over by the pool?
Garner must have used it, right?
And then I thought about that greasy piece of leather I saw at the police station. This is only a theory, but... let's say someone knows about Garner's hideout and sneaks inside. The intruder removes the gun. He aims the gun at the water in the pool. And fishes out a used bullet that's still intact. He applies grease to the bullet and wraps it in the leather. Then loads it into a gun with a larger caliber than a Walther. The bullet that took Dorfman's life had the markings of a bullet from Garner's Walther. But the murderer made one mistake. He accidentally dropped the piece of leather that was wrapped around the bullet.
That can't be. No, even if there were another suspect, tell me who would have killed Dorfman.
I'd say someone close, a colleague of Dorfman's, one who has an old gun that doesn't use cartridges.
A gun that doesn't use cartridges?
What's the matter, Charlie?
Damn!
Hey!
Taking a trip so late at night, Mr. McBain? Now I see. You were engaged in an illicit affair with Mrs. Janet Dorfman.
Has the case really been solved this time? How did you figure out that McBain and Mrs. Dorfman were the true culprits?
No comment again.
Monsieur, how you solved the mystery?
There he is! Make way! Move!
Taste.
Really? Are you trying to tell me that I have a less sophisticated taste because I don't have the words to describe its flavor?
No, I didn't mean it that way.
You know, Keaton, Chinese food is great, but Chinese women are even better.
I thought you just decided the other day that nothing beats Japanese women.
Now what do we have here?
We didn't order this dish.
The chef asked me to bring it to you. That deep-fried sweet and sour pork is on the house.
Today is a very special day for me, everybody. Mr. Keaton, it would give me great honor if you celebrate along with me by eating this dish.
A special day?
That's right. Please go ahead, gentlemen, and enjoy the meal.
Let's see. Yum.
Oh, this is so delicious. It all tastes great, but this is something else. And yet, I think I've tasted something like this before, but where, though?
Is anything wrong?
I was just wondering how you prepare the meat so that it comes out so tender.
I'm afraid to disappoint you, but that's a house secret. Though I'll admit I'm delighted and impressed that you possess such a discerning palate, Mr. Keaton. I can't help but think it's because you are half Japanese. It's been a challenge offering this cuisine to Britain.
Oh, I don't think you're being fair. Look around and tell me that a lot of the British don't come to your restaurant.
Sorry, I guess I was exaggerating, but when it comes to preparing food, that's a different story. Englishmen are not capable of mastering true Chinese cuisine. Roddy, why are you just standing there? It's time to get back to work now.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing? Just tell me, who gave you permission to cook here?
Well, you see, I was only,
How many times do I have to tell you, Roddy? Your job is simply to wash up all the dishes.
Roddy! Stop it, Father. You know, there are Englishmen who do understand the delicacy of Chinese cuisine.
Well, the Englishmen I know aren't concerned one bit if the cooking is below standard. After all, one of our young Chinese chefs was lured from here by an Englishman to open up a restaurant, and he was nowhere near ready to go out on his own.
But Roddy is not like that at all. He really is trying to learn about authentic Chinese cooking.
Songray, do you think that I'm completely oblivious to what is going on between you two here? I've had enough. Roddy, get out of here.
But why, Father?
Find another job. You're fired.
Well, Taichi, how about we make our way over to that Chinese restaurant again tonight? Though I must say that owner was a bit peculiar.
I don't know about that. He's just strict about the quality.
Huh? Hey, Taichi.
Hello. Roddy, isn't it?
Huh? You were dining at the restaurant the other day, weren't you?
If I'm not mistaken, this is the busiest time at the restaurant, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
My father, he fired him.
Huh?
Mr. Keaton, I have a little favor to ask of you, and that is to sample Roddy's cooking.
Oh, Sonri,
Great. It's delicious. I love all of it.
So you learned to cook by yourself, huh? Roddy? I'd say you're good enough to cook professionally.
Yeah. You could work in any restaurant you want as a chef. So why is it that you're so keen to stick around that dirty old place anyway? Oh, I get it now. I bet it has something to do with the young lady there.
Well, you see, I really want to learn about the fine art of Chinese cuisine.
You have to understand that he was born in Hong Kong.
Back then, my father was employed as a chef for the Hong Kong government, though in actual fact his specialty was French cuisine. Even as a child, I got along better with Chinese friends. I had more of an affinity with them than with the British children. One day I was at the home of my friend who was Chinese. I was invited to stay for dinner. It was amazing. That taste, that flavor, simply the best thing I'd ever eaten. From then on, I became obsessed with the depth and variety of their meals. I was intent on fulfilling my dream, to become a Chinese chef. But my father didn't approve. My dream meant nothing to him. He didn't recognize anything other than French cuisine as the mark of a true chef. It was time to leave home. My life would only have meaning if I were to recreate that taste. The taste of the food from my friend's house. The one I remember.
And that's why he worked for us. He says that when he sampled the first morsel of my father's cooking, he felt the same sensation he'd had back in Hong Kong.
So you won't be satisfied until you're asked to come back to the restaurant where you can learn from her father, right?
Yes.
Don't get yourselves all worked out. Just leave it to us. It'll be easy to sort it out. We just have to get him to taste some of this food, that's all. There's no way you can say no then, Taichi.
But how do we convince that stubborn man to actually try it?
Hey, it's your job to solve problems like this, you know.
Both of their futures depend on this. We really can't afford to mess it up. Roddy's food tastes incredible, but to be honest, it won't be enough. No, we need something a little extra to impress a man who's so set in his ways. Sonrei, when your father treated us to that dish at the restaurant, why exactly was that day so special to him?
Now that was on November the 12th, wasn't it? Yes, I do know that it is an important date for my father, but I...
So, what do you think I should make myself for dinner this evening, Tasuke? Hello, Hiraga residence? Oh, it's you, Taichi. Have you already made it to London? Huh? What do you mean, the deep-fried pork? Oh, you're talking about the ones you and I used to eat at Taishokaku in Yokohama, right? Say that again? You want the recipe? I really hate to break the news to you, but the chef passed away a while ago. The restaurant's long gone. Hello? Are you there? Hello? Would you believe that he hung up on me? The deep-fried pork at Taishokaku, huh? My boy, your call is perfectly timed. You've given me the idea to go out right now and get some.
No good. Could you let me in on your little plan? Do you seriously believe that you'll find the recipe from a restaurant in Japan?
I remember that the restaurant my father used to take me to when I was little had the same deep-fried pork. The restaurant was reputed to be the best in Yokohama's Chinatown.
You want Roddy to use the same recipe. You think if he recreates the flavor, it'll surprise and impress the old man.
Yeah, but I don't think it's possible anymore.
Hi, Grandpa. Are you around here anywhere?
Oh, hello, Yuriko. Good timing. Why don't you join me on my trip to Yokohama's Chinatown?
Yokohama?
That's right. We're going to go on a wild hunt for the most delicious plate of deep-fried pork.
He's the walking encyclopedia of Chinatown that Sonrei was telling me about, the ancient Mr. Shu.
Are you sure he's all there? I mean, he looks like some kind of wizard.
Here, try some.
What are they?
They're excellent for when you want to come up with an idea. They have the power to clear your mind and ease your spirit.
This could be just the perfect thing for our situation.
We may find some clue about the recipe if he'll tell us about the history of the Golden Lotus Restaurant's master chef. Let's get going.
If you say so, but I don't think he even remembers his own history.
The master chef, sir, of the Golden Lotus. Do you happen to know him?
Terrible fool. Forget about that place. Though I would definitely recommend the Golden Lotus. What you got inside the bag?
Oh, here, have some.
Chinese dates, are they? We never got sweet treats back in the old days.
Come on, Taichi, let's forget about this guy.
Oh, speaking of treats, I would sometimes go over to the Golden Lotus. I remember how Dr. Sun Yat-sen used to give out a few samples of his nice homemade sweets.
Did you say Sun Yat-sen? Sun Yat-sen was working at the Golden Lotus?
Oh, yes. He loved to create the finest meals using his very own recipes. He used to prepare many different savory dishes underneath the watchful eye of the Golden Lotus's previous owner. Hey, those are good. Give me some more.
Did he mean Sun Yat-sen, the political revolutionary?
That's right. Sun Yat-sen was born in 1866. He was a physician with a Western-influenced education from Hawaii and Hong Kong. He led several insurgencies against the Qing government from around 1900 on. He also raised money for his cause in Japan and England, where he was forced into exile. He may have been the one who introduced a taste for Chinese fare to the Japanese and British.
Oh, come on, get off it.
He could be our only hope in helping Roddy and Sonrei. Hello? Oh, hi, Yuriko. So how is everything going? Where are you calling from? Yokohama?
Yeah, Yokohama's Chinatown. No, I'm not out on a date. I just tagged along with Grandpa, Dad. Right now, we're sitting down to eat the special fried pork from Taishokaku.
You're doing what?
Huh?
We finally found him. The son of the chef at the former Taishokaku restaurant came back to Yokohama 5 years ago and opened up a new place. And the man who showed his father how to make deep-fried pork was...
You're kidding me, really? Daniel, it was Sun Yat-sen.
Huh?
So tell me, did you get the recipe from the chef?
Of course we did. Oh, Grandpa said to say, On your next visit, don't forget to bring him a bottle of scotch. And Dad, there's another really cool story you gotta hear.
A really cool story? So what's this story you want to tell me? We're here?
Thank you very much for inviting me here. I must confess I can't wait to see what kind of Japanese food I'll be eating this evening, Mr. Keaton.
Don't feel obliged. It's our treat for the one you gave us the other day.
Sonrei.
Enjoy.
This is... Roddy was the one who made this deep-fried pork, wasn't he? It may look the same, but there's no way that he can make it taste anything like mine does. I'm sorry, Mr. Keaton, but I think I'll be going now.
I thought that China was a country of courtesy. Today is a special day, and we'd be happy if you joined us.
This just can't be. No matter how much you might have encouraged Roddy, there's no way he could possibly have prepared this dish.
The secret touch is the whiskey. The trick is to add it to the marinade. It's amazing how tender the meat can get.
Here.
No, don't tell me this cake is the one. Yes, this is the one. The aroma, the flavor, it's all so familiar to me. Yes, I'm certain this must be the same cake my father used to make. The family recipe was to be given to me when I was ready, but sadly my father passed away before he had the opportunity to do so. For 30 years I have tried every recipe to duplicate this taste, and with every attempt I failed miserably. And now here it is before me.
It was passed on from Sun Yat-sen to Japan.
The Dr. Sun Yat-sen?
Yes, he passed it on to London, too.
So, then you know all about the relationship between our restaurant and Dr. Sun Yat-sen, do you?
Both these recipes were introduced to the restaurant that my father frequents in Japan and are followed exactly as Sun Yat-sen had taught them. I was informed about the cake in a phone call I got from Yokohama, and I double-checked with the elderly Mr. Shu. You see, Sun Yat-sen used to make this at your place.
Oh, really? Is that so? But the filling. What do you call this ingredient that has been rolled into the sweet bean?
Dried Japanese persimmon.
Dried persimmon?
It's known to be 1.5 times sweeter than sugar. Persimmon exists both in China and Japan, but it's not very popular in China.
Dried persimmon, huh? So, that's where the fruity scent comes from, and the sweetness does not linger in your mouth. That's Dr. Sun Yat-sen for you, making use of a Japanese ingredient for his Chinese sweets. And that recipe was kept alive as it was passed from one chef to another.
The people from this Japanese restaurant kindly gave us some dried persimmon. The sweet bean had to be kneaded, the special ingredient was added as a finishing touch, all by Roddy.
Roddy created it? Mr. Keaton, I treated you the day you came to my restaurant because it happened to fall on November the 12th. It was my own way of celebrating Dr. Sun Yat-sen's birthday. That's right, he used to say to my grandfather, "It is true that borders may divide countries, but there are none when it comes to food. Chinese cuisine will spread throughout the world. Pass it on." And so Chinese cuisine really did spread throughout the world. But the fact remains that there are only a handful of restaurants that know how to serve it properly. Imitations are unacceptable. We have to let the world sample authentic Chinese dishes. And you're nowhere near able to prepare them, Roddy.
Yes, sir.
We're getting ready for tomorrow's opening. And we're short-staffed. Come back to the restaurant.
What? Well, that works out for you. When the beneficiary murders the policyholder, your company is under no obligation to pay out the money, am I right?
Yes, Detective, that's correct. Good day.
No, Thomas is innocent. I tell you, he's innocent. Tell me why not. Tell me why you won't let me see Thomas.
As I said.
I'll take this to the Human Rights Council.
You must go through his lawyer. Otherwise, only immediate family are permitted visitations, madam.
That's enough of this nonsense. So inflexible and full of nonsense, there's no point in my standing here talking to you.
A simple case, huh? Looks like I can file a basic report for this one. She had lupins, huh?
What do you think you're doing here?
Huh?
So you're the one who killed her. They say the murderer always comes back to the scene of the crime.
Whoa!
I'm going to get you up!
Wait a sec, wait! Ow.
So then, you mean to tell me you're a genuine detective, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh dear, I'm so terribly disappointed. You don't quite have the movie star looks of someone like Paul Newman, or the tough and gritty attitude of a man like Steve McQueen. I would have to say Bogey truly is my absolute favourite. I'm referring to the marvellous Humphrey Bogart. I'm sure you agree with me?
Well, of course.
Then you must find the actual culprit, like Bogey would. You cannot let me down.
Huh?
Goodness, what do you mean, huh? You don't actually believe that that lovely young man could have possibly done in his aunt.
Lovely young man, you're not talking about Thomas.
Of course, he lives right across the street with his ailing grandmother. It's also true that the young man doesn't have any steady employment, and I realize he has a reputation for being rather aimless, but he's simply not the kind of boy the authorities think he is.
But let me remind you, Mrs.
Barnum. My name is Mrs. Jerry Barnum.
Mrs. Barnum. Unfortunately, you can't discount it. There's the motive, the knife, and the witness. It's obvious they all point to Thomas as the culprit. And we have no evidence to the contrary.
Did you say you have no evidence? Then just come this way with me.
But I...
Would you kindly get over here, please? Look at this.
Something wrong with the pot?
That's why you won't rise to anything beyond a third-rate detective. And this is the second piece of evidence.
Delicious. A pie with dried fruit. But I still don't see what the pot and the pie have to do with the case.
What? You still don't get it? Take a look at the size of the pie. It's too large for her to eat all by herself. Our Miss Wayne must have been involved with a man.
Huh? Hold on now, wait just a minute. Did you stop to consider that maybe this pie and the pot were for Thomas?
Then what about this? Here is the third piece of evidence.
It has a sweet scent.
Aruna by Boulay. It's quite an expensive perfume. Do you think a woman would wear that perfume if she were only meeting her nephew? Surely it's clear now.
Then you've concluded that her lover killed her.
From all of this incriminating evidence, of course.
Intriguing. Although this evidence doesn't actually prove anything, but it's definitely interesting.
Interesting? A life was taken. It's bad form to be amused.
Sorry?
Let's move on to the next. This bathrobe must surely be for a man, and the initials of the lover's name are on the pocket.
W.G.
Are you still confident there could be no other suspect than Thomas?
Well, hold on. Even if she did have an anonymous lover, it doesn't automatically mean that he was the guilty party who murdered her.
I leave the rest of the job up to you. Find out who this Mr. W.G. is.
But how can I?
It's up to you to think of a way, isn't it? Train yourself to become like Bogey. Oh, I'm already running late as it is. My husband always gets upset when dinner's late, even if it's by a minute.
Oh boy, this is great. I thought I'd wrap up this case by tomorrow, but from the looks of it, I don't think that's going to happen.
Lupins, you say? There's a middle-aged gentleman who comes around for 'em. He buys a bouquet from me faithfully every week, sir.
How would you describe him?
I don't know. He always wears sunglasses and an oversized hat that almost entirely covers up his face, so I've never really had a good look at him.
Anything else?
No, sir. I'm afraid that's all.
Thanks so much. You've been helpful.
Oh, come to think of it, he had an unusual watch. With something resembling a family crest. Etched into the face it was, along with a pair of oars.
A watch? Splendid job. That's quite a promising lead, I'll have you know. Even a third-rate detective can do it if he tries. You're a step closer to being like Bogey.
Oi, put your gossiping. The soup's getting cold.
My husband's in a state. But Do ring me the moment you come up with something. Good luck, Mr. Keaton. Keep pressing on. He's the guilty one, all right.
Do you like it? Rather impressive, isn't it? It's a keepsake of mine from the Henley Royal Regatta back in 1973. We cut through all the competitors. We won our first cup in over 30 years. We had this watch made to commemorate the event.
It's not just beautiful to look at, it seems to be pretty solid, too.
Isn't it, though? After all, dear boy, it was a glorious triumph.
How many others have a watch like this one?
Only those who crossed the finish line on the winning boat, including myself. There were 8 of us in the crew.
By any chance, was there a gentleman with the initials WG?
The ambitious management consultant.
Oh, he always leaves the telly on.
For Member of Parliament.
I'm only here today because of her. She's been my greatest partner in business and at home. Let me introduce you to my fabulous wife, Doris. She's always stuck by me through difficult times and will be with me throughout the campaign.
Not a bad-looking man for a politician, that is.
We'll work to win the election, together as a team. But we need your help. Come election time, I ask for your support.
Oh, that watch.
Listen, how many times must I tell you? Mr. Goldman does not see anyone without an appointment.
As a favor, please.
So as far as the arrangements are concerned, I would like you to get in touch with him. That's about it.
Mr. Goldman! Hey!
Mr. Goldman, I want you to know I'm your biggest supporter.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
I wish you the best of luck. A mutual friend was also a supporter of yours, Miss Lady Wayne, sir. She surely would have come today if she was still living.
We appreciate your trust and support, thank you. Come along, darling.
Did you see it then? The look on his face when I mentioned her name? I'm convinced more than ever that he did it.
I'm impressed. I never thought I'd see such boldness in you, Mrs. Barnum. Bravo. Is there anything wrong?
My husband Brian can't see me in a place like this, or else I'll be in an awful lot of trouble. And Mr. Keaton, that could mean big trouble for you. Oh.
Excuse me, may I take a seat?
What's this?
I won't dare ask how much you two know about them, my husband and Lady Wayne, that is. It's a sensitive time for my husband, with an important election coming up now. You see, I'd rather you not leak this story to the public. Good day.
Mrs. Goldman, is your husband the one who sent you to meet with us?
No, my dear husband isn't at all aware that I knew anything about their indiscretion. Excuse me.
You forgot something. Here, you may have it back. It's too much for the coffee bill.
Well, you clearly won't cooperate, but it may be in your best interest to know. We're moving into politics and are prepared for anything that might come up against us. We'll not allow ourselves to be set back by a petty scandal. Remember that.
The culprit has to be Goldman. He was afraid of the scandal hitting the press in the middle of the election campaign. So the man clearly must have murdered Miss Wayne.
Yeah, I imagine that's a distinct possibility.
By the way, did you happen to notice the brand of the perfume she was wearing?
Yeah?
Aruna, the same brand Miss Wayne had.
No, it's fine. I happen to be acquainted with these people. Would you mind leaving us alone for a little while? Yes, she was my lover for some time, even before I was to meet my future wife. Lydia and I first met about 20 years ago, while I was a penniless student. But I couldn't openly express the love we felt for one another. All through our school days, and even still after that. I was the son of a poor coal miner, so I had no prospects. But it was Doris's father, Lord Memphis, who sponsored me. Say what you will about it, but I simply couldn't refuse to marry Doris. Liddy, she understood perfectly. She forgave me. She said she didn't mind, as long as my love for her would continue, and we could see each other. The only place I could relax was at her house. Her fruit pie and her anchovy stew gave me strength. It's how I get through the week. Now she's gone and I feel so lost.
You're a marvelous actor, Mr. Goldman.
Huh?
I can see how a career in politics would suit you just fine. But you can't fool me. I'm convinced you're the one who killed her. You were intent on getting rid of her before the election campaign.
You're mad, do you know that? Have the pair of you come here on a mission to sabotage my chances in the election?
Don't get upset. The reason we're here is to find out the truth.
Yes, that's right. It's a matter of clearing the name of an innocent boy and giving him a promising future.
Go on, don't make me laugh. Tell me exactly how much you want from me. I'm onto your pathetic scheme. I'm not afraid of your kind. Blackmailers.
How vulgar can one possibly get? Did you just hear what he accused us of?
Blackmail, he said. That could prove interesting.
What's that?
Let's use his idea and become blackmailers.
Do you honestly believe Goldman will come?
I saw you at the house. You were leaving there in a hurry on that day. I even have photos. We should meet and strike a deal. Well, I think that should do the trick. Anyone besides the true culprit would ignore that letter. Oh, and listen, Mrs. Barnum, please go somewhere safe. This is becoming too dangerous for you.
What do you mean by that? I can't leave you alone to finish this. You won't solve something this important by yourself.
But your husband would be worried knowing you were here.
I told him before I left I'd be at my sister's. He'd be ever so cross.
Yes, right.
Mrs. Goldman?
Actually, I thought it might be a good idea to mail the same letter to his wife. Although I wasn't convinced.
Very clever for a fellow like you.
But I wonder what made her stoop to such drastic action. Just to hide a scandal? It's not like a woman who's put up with cheating for so long.
Maybe she found...
Doris! Doris! Where is she?
The police are in her room at the moment asking some questions. She confessed to everything.
But why? Why did my Doris kill Liddy?
You gave exactly the same brand of perfume to Miss Wayne as you did your wife, didn't you?
How would you know?
So, could you tell me, since you keep on mentioning it, what's the relevance of the brand of perfume?
Oh, my goodness, dear boy, you really haven't a clue, do you? I don't think Doris went to that house with the intention of killing Liddy. At least at first. I think she was going to give her some money, and perhaps ask her to consider moving away. I suspect Miss Wayne accepted the offer for the sake of Goldman, but then before Doris decided to take her leave, she noticed something unpleasant.
Huh?
She noticed that Miss Wayne was wearing the same perfume as herself.
Oh.
Doris wanted to have some dignity in her marriage. He was finally acknowledging her as his partner. She had convinced herself that the perfume was something quite special from him, but the mistress she looked down upon was wearing the same brand. And that's when she lost control and did her in.
Oh, I think I finally get it.
But are you certain you get it?
Well, yeah, I suppose. It all pretty much makes sense now.
You did an admirable job with this case, but you'll never attain the status of bogey. Unfortunately, Mr. Keaton, you don't understand women at all.
Huh? Wait up! Mrs. Barnum, please,